And there's touchback number 12. So Rollers matched his total from last year. Henry Ogala is their sophomore quarterback. He started last year, broke his thumb 3 games in, and Moberly graduate Drake Davidson took over from there. Ogala's won the job back. He's the starting quarterback. Kimbo Ferguson, their feature running back out of Miami Gardens, Florida. Their halfback is a Johnny Johnson. They are a monster of an offensive line, averaging 344. They have 4 guys over 300 pounds on the line. And their first pass is complete, then it's on the turf. And I think it was going to be a fumble. Bulldogs saying they have the football. Now the officials have a decision to make. The head linesman there over the football, and there's another official on his knees. The Bulldogs have the football. Now what's the decision here?
That happened so fast. I don't know if Edwards punched that out. It looks like they're saying Lincoln football. He's winding the clock.
Mr. Excitement, Lawrence Woods, of course, on the football. He would have had the recovery, but they said he was down on the turf.
And otherwise, I'd almost wonder if it would have been an incompletion. That seemed way too quick to be a catch and fumble, but I guess they say he's down.
Blake Tibbs is their feature receiver. Here's a handoff to Ferguson. And a good hole up the middle opened up by that mammoth offensive line, which includes a Moberly starter. Drake Rucker, a true freshman, 6'7", 310 pounds, is one of your starters. It looks like he may be at a tackle spot. They had him listed as a guard on the 2 deep.
And he is part of the biggest line in football, as we noted earlier in the pregame.
On average, 20 pounds larger than Mizzou's line. 3rd down and 2. Bulldogs will run blitz, and they're going to blow the play dead. It's a flag on Lincoln. This is going to be one of the subtle differences, and maybe not so subtle. We have seen this Lincoln program being plagued by penalties in past years. They are better under head coach Stephen Smith. They still, though, are getting penalized at 62 yards a game. Truman, just quite the opposite. They are 3rd in the country, averaging just 32 penalty yards per game.
And going from 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7 speaks for itself, especially when you're an underdog and a team that has struggled at times.
Offense has struggled a bit for Lincoln. They average 284 yards total, 122 on the ground, 161 through the air. On 3rd down, 36% this season. The Bulldog defense is number 1 in the conference in opponent 3rd down conversion. 3rd down and 7. Here is a pass play. Ogala over the middle, caught. There's a conversion. Meyerson wrapping up the receiver, who gets forward progress to the 41-yard line. A gain of 12, and the Blue Tigers move the sticks.
Good gang tackle there, but a couple of receivers open early on some short routes.
The Bulldogs up front. Jake Floyd, Michael Neisler, the starting tackles. A.J. DeVecchi, Sam Reeves are the ends. Reed McBroom, Crest All-Star from Brookfield, gets his 2nd start of the season. Ryan Edwards also in the middle. Travis Meyerson, the Bandit. Quarterbacks Lawrence Woods, DeAnthony Knight. Here's a flag flying again. And a short carry for Ferguson. Edwards on the tackle, the leading tackler for the Spartans, along with Sam Reeves. Presumably, the Blue Tigers jumped too quickly again. Wyatt Official is the free safety, and Jordan Siegel, coming off a tremendous game at McKendree, is the strong safety.
This one's on the Bulldogs.
It is.
Jumped early, and they did let the play proceed. He might have just mispointed there.
It'll be a fun day at Stokes Stadium. Homecoming Saturday has a definite athletics theme. Ray Armstead here. He was the grand marshal of the parade, the Olympic gold medalist. Here is a handoff to Ferguson. Cuts it up quickly, and the Bulldogs there to meet him in the hole. Jake Floyd, the Rockbridge Bruin, there to make the tackle, along with Neisler. So your 2 defensive tackles make the stop. Kimbo Ferguson, with a full head of hair, had the lid pop out. So he's got to leave for a play. The backup running back is Hosea Franklin, a freshman out of Memphis, Tennessee. And again, they will employ a halfback at times. Looks like Terry Hunter has entered the lineup, and he is their leading returning rusher from a year ago. Fake the jet sweep, a goal up the middle, stopped. Going to be 3rd down and short.
Yeah, he's about a yard shy there. Truman aggressive early on the defensive end. Lincoln, though, penalty aside, seems like it's settled into somewhat of a rhythm, and at the very least for them, they flipped the field early in this contest.
Sam Reeves on the tackle there. It's going to be 3rd down and 2 from the Lincoln 49-yard line. The Blue Tigers coming off a narrow loss in their homecoming game to Quincy last week, 14-13. They took a shot at a 50-yard field goal to win it with about 3 minutes to go. Came up short. 3rd down and 2. Deep back and a halfback, handed off, and he is stopped. Here comes a late flag into the play. Bulldogs blow up that play as Siegel in the backfield along with Neisler, the defensive tackle, holding on Lincoln. And what will Greg Nesbitt do?
Yeah, this is not an obvious call because if you decline this, Lincoln may decide to go for it here on 4th and a yard and a half or so. If you decline it, you put them in 3rd down and long, 3rd and 11 or 12. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. It comes down to knowing the opponent, how aggressive you think Lincoln will be in this situation, and Nesbitt decides because of that to accept. And again, if you're confident in your pass defense, you take away the opportunity for Lincoln to go forward and try to establish some momentum.
Zach Nadel, the freshman from Plainfield, Illinois, will check in the nickel package for the Bulldogs, and coming in at linebacker is Jake Hayes out of Parkway South in St. Louis. 3rd down and 12. Blue Tigers will go 3-by-1 across the line of scrimmage with a back to the left of Ogala. Straight 3-man rush for the Bulldogs, and they're still going to get to the quarterback, and down he goes. DeVecchi and Floyd meet in the backfield and sack Ogala, and that's been a real problem for the Blue Tigers this season. They have given up now 25 sacks as we are just underway in Game 7.
15 yards of field position, Brad, by the decision to accept that penalty.
The Bulldogs coming into this game 3rd in the conference, 13 total sacks. And they've got everybody lined up. Now they'll peel back. Angle punt away from Spencer Newell, hits at the 35 and bounces out of bounds. So the Bulldog defense gets off the field. 10-17 to play in the first quarter.
Inches from being blocked there from this vantage point.
And that was something Greg Nesbitt brought up in the pregame when we're talking special teams and how Lawrence Woods can put an impact on the game. He referenced last week a couple of narrow misses by Woods on block punt attempts that affected the punting game of McKendree.
And for all we've talked about the return game, you mentioned Roller in the 12 touchbacks. Scheider has been a weapon in the kicking game. This is a versatile, multifaceted special teams unit that's been successful.
All right, the Bulldogs open up in spread. Now they'll get back to their traditional I formation as Jaden Barr gets under center. Nick Verbeck snaps it, hands it off to Salima, and he's stuffed. And run defense has been pretty good for Lincoln this season, giving up 127 yards, 3rd in the conference.
Kilday took that out of the Doug Peterson playbook from Thursday night. You line up one way and then you send 5 guys scattered. And what that does, it tells you a little bit about man-zone defense, the opponent's coverage, the way they're planning to defend you. So I like that. You get them thinking.
Now you go back to the gun with 2 backs in the backfield. Nichols goes in motion, right to left. They'll fake it. Here is Barr optioning out of there with lead blockers and a lane to run through across midfield to the 45. Tackled at the Lincoln Blue Tiger 42-yard line. A neat play design there as the Blue Tigers got caught. Eric looking in the backfield at Jordan Salima.
And we saw a lot of success last week from Barr on the perimeter, getting into that zone read game and getting onto the perimeter with Barr. And again, we talked about in the pregame with Kevin too, Satula becoming a better option now in the backfield along with the obvious Salima. A lot of weapons.
1st down and 10. Fullback is up near the tackle spot. Salima leaks out of the backfield. He'll take the screen pass. Running out of room on the short side of the field, is able to stay inside the boundary and work 3-4 yards on that 1st down play. Starting the offensive line for the Bulldogs, Nick Verbeck, the senior center. Jacob Lewis out of Centralia, junior guard. Connor Borisenko, senior guard out of Kirkwood, Missouri. The tackles are Nob Chetri out of Olathe, Kansas, senior, and Jacob Van Doren, sophomore, out of Geneseo, Illinois. C.J. Brown, starting tight end, senior out of Oswego, Illinois. Dante Ruffin and Brass Woods are your receivers to the right. Jacob Morris, the starting fullback, and Andy Satula in there now at tailback. Here's a wide receiver screen to Ruffin. And that's pretty well defended by the Blue Tigers. Ruffin to the 36, knee goes down.
I'll tell you, Brad, Truman went all out on the unis today. I noticed Salima had a bright yellow glove when he went out and plucked that with the left hand a couple of plays ago. Love the way it's matching the uniforms, the NE on the helmet. This is pretty nice. As far as that play is concerned, Truman's continued to work sometimes laterally in the passing game as they continue to develop vertically. We might see a lot of receiver screens today as we did a week ago.
You're a Vikings fan. Why wouldn't you like this one? 3rd down and 4. Barr will fake it, keep it, and to the near side, he dives ahead for 1st down yardage. Boy, was that play money against McKendree last week. Jaden Barr against the Bearcats, 12 carries, 91 yards, and he leads the team in rushing, 576, averaging 7 yards a carry this season.
Mass personnel changes. I didn't quite catch if it was 4 or 5, but something like 4 or 5 guys just subbed out and in for Truman here.
First drive of the game for the Bulldogs to the Blue Tiger 32, 7:20 to play opening quarter. You got the inverted bone around Barr, hands it off, and Salima finds a crease to run through. He gets to the 2nd level before being dropped at the 24-yard line. It's going to be 2nd and short.
Phenomenal quick cut out of Salima. Phenomenal push up front from the offensive line. That snap's a bit high. It can throw off the timing of the play, but Truman decisive, wins the battle up front, surges ahead for 8 or 9.
3 straight games, the Bulldogs have rushed for over 200 yards. Their season high last week against McKendree, 311, the most rushing yards a game since a contest against SBU in 2014. That was also the most points they scored before last week, 52 against SBU in 2014. We have a timeout. Bulldogs are driving. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. This is Truman Football on Crescent, CentralMoInfo.com. Do it, Brad Boyer. Hank Jansen will be checking in from the sideline. A lot of old Bulldogs back here, homecoming, always fun to see. Big crowd here. It is an overcast day. We haven't talked about it. Brisk wind here this afternoon, but certainly could be worse. It was certainly colder last night for those high school games. 2nd and 2, playbook wide open for the Bulldogs. Fake it to Salima. It's a pass play to Ruffin, and that is blown up. Blue Tigers all over that play. Cornerback on the tackle was Siobhan Gross. And he takes down Ruffin for a 5-yard loss.
We'll want to see Jaden still go through progressions and look up the field. Nichols wide open on a post pattern. At least from my vantage point, I thought that was a touchdown. But it looked like he had the time. But again, that's something this offense is still working on.
Got to come back with a plus play here on 3rd and 7. Barr will roll out, looking to throw it. On the run, it's defended and knocked down. Nichols, the intended receiver, and he was covered by Victor Williams, far side. So what will the Bulldogs do? Ball is at the 29. Looks like they're going to go for it.
And again, that's not a subtle thing, and I'm sure Hank would agree. As much as this offense has improved throughout the season, you still obviously can find areas to improve no matter who you are. In there, you want to look up the field, get vertical in your passing game. Had an opportunity for a touchdown, but now you got a 4th and long. See if they can convert.
Pistol formation. Satula, the deep back. 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Barr drops it off to Satula. It's a straight screen pass, and it's not going to be a 1st down. So that is disappointing. You had it 2nd and 2 and you go backward.
And that never stood a shot. I'll be honest, I thought Satula was maybe going to throw the ball at first just because of the fact that the pass was undoubtedly thrown in the backward direction and the fact that it was 4th down and long. I'm not sure what the plan was on that one, but either way, now you turn it around to the defensive end, see if you can get another stop. But for the most part, a promising first drive there, but like you said, just stalled after that 2nd and short.
Bulldogs 4 of 11 on 4th down now this season.
And by the way, that all goes back to that need for developing the vertical passing game there when you're reverting to a screen on 4th and 7.
The Blue Tigers, and they're all white from the 30-yard line. Ogala dumps it out of the backfield, and some nifty running for a first down. That is Donovan Wright. He is a backup halfback out of Albany, Georgia, a true freshman. His 6th catch of the season.
I didn't catch who the victim of it was, but that Lang threw a heck of a block there on the far side, just straight up pancaked the quarterback on the far side of the field. Whether that was Woods or Knight on that play, I'm not sure. It might have been Knight, but yeah, he got ragdolled there.
First down at the 41-yard line. Handed off to Kimbo Ferguson. Stuff driven back. 4 or 5 Bulldog tacklers there, led by freshman from St. Louis, Robert Greco, getting more and more playing time out of Hazelwood Central High School.
So far, Truman's winning the battle up front against that all-huge Lincoln line, which I know was something we were confident in from a quickness standpoint coming into this afternoon.
Stephen Smith into his 2nd season as head coach, a 98 graduate of Southern Illinois. He came from Albany State, where he was the offensive coordinator for some playoff teams there prior to arriving at Lincoln. 2nd and 11. Fake it, play action pass. Caught right at the hash mark, and then spun down by Eric Yakel is the receiver, Donovan Wright. Check that. That was Karakakos with the catch, Justin Karakakos, who had a 52-yard touchdown against Quincy last week. 3rd down and 3.
Lincoln's really been looking to the intermediate passing game. This is going to be a big spot for the linebackers, 3rd and medium.
Twins to each side. Check it. It's 2 by 3 across the line of scrimmage. Empty formation. Agala drops it off, and there is an incompletion. His closing down hard was Zach Nadel, and the intended receiver, Wright, may have heard footsteps.
Yep, it was the pass rush that made the play there. Nothing that happened on the outside. Good call.
So the Bulldogs and Spencer Newell will head out to receive this punt. Football's at the 47-yard line of Lincoln. Their punter is Wilkie Bellencourt. Averages 36 yards a punt. Here comes the rush. The protective wall stood up, and a good roll as it's going to go by Newell inside the 10. Down to the 5, inside the 5. Inside the 4. They blow it dead at the 4.
Is it too early to assume that Truman's going to block a punt today? I think they got a little close there again. They might be due. They've done just about everything in the special teams department. Might be good for a block, but now you got to go 96 yards the other way.
Well, the field position certainly is flipped. Bulldogs were in scoring territory on a 2nd and 2, and then they had a negative play that blew up the possession, and now a big-time punt for Lincoln pins the Bulldogs back to the 4. Hayden Holt is in at fullback out of Savannah, Missouri. I formation. Barr will get under center. Salima, the tailback, the only receiver, Ruffin to the near side. 2 tight end formation. Lead play to Salima as he zigs his way and zags through traffic and still moving the pile. No whistle blew. Forward progress to the 13-yard line, a pickup of 8.
Jansen will love that one, moving the pile there, and got another 3-4 yards. I'd like to see what coverage Lincoln comes out in here. I know it's not going to happen, but I would kind of love to see a play-action shot up the sideline here on 2nd and short. They had nobody over the top. Press man on the outside there, cornerbacks at half a yard off the line of scrimmage, and it looks like they're coming out that way again.
I formation again. Here is a handoff Salima on a trap play up the middle, and Salima will get a first down on a pickup of 2. He should have enough yardage. He only needed 10 today to move into 11th place on the career rushing list. James McCoy, who played from 86 to 89, was ahead of Salima by 10 yards coming into today. Salima with 2,167 career yards. First down at the 17-yard line. Play action pass on first down. And there on the little checkup is Brass Woods on the reception at the 23-yard line. And that's a gain of 6.
We got our play action. Corners dropped off a bit more that time. They had about 4 yards of space on the outside, but still nothing going on over the top of the defense. And because of that, I like that call there. They're going to gear up to stop the run.
And while we're talking about career yardage, Jaden Barr has moved past Nate Minnis for 9th place on the career passing yardage list. Here is a handoff to Satula, backs his way to a first down just across the 27-yard line. Andy Satula has had the game-winning touchdown the last 2 weeks. Deep into the fourth quarter against William Jewell here 2 weeks ago with 27 seconds to go. Last week at McKendree with just over 3 minutes to go, and it stood up in a 45-38 win. First down and 10, football 28-yard line. Here's a fake, and they loft the pass over the defender to the fullback. Rumbling up the sideline is Holt with C.J. Brown leading the way. First down, Bulldogs at the 49-yard line.
Outstanding composure, Jaden Barr. In a situation like that, when you go to the play-action screen game, you often expect that you're going to get rocked if you're the quarterback. You got to stand in there, be ready to take a hit. He pops that over the blitzer or the pass rusher, and then, like you said, phenomenal blocking upfield out of Brown. Beautifully executed.
C.J. Brown returning all-conference tight end. It's the inverted bone, and Barr will fake it and scoot to the outside, cuts it up at the 40, on a sprint to the 30, across the 25, down to the 20, driven out of bounds. Late flag will come in. Jaden Barr pulls a rabbit out of the hat and scoots to the outside to first down yardage all the way down to the Lincoln 18. And now we'll see what the call is, or did they pick up the flag? No, I guess it wasn't a flag. I saw something fly on the Lincoln sideline. No flag. Bulldogs are in the red zone, 18-yard line. Remember, this possession started at the 4. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. 2 backs in the backfield on either side of Barr. Will give it off to Salima. Dances to some open space and is tackled at the 15-yard line. A pickup of 3 as we are winding down the first quarter clock. Just 30 seconds left. Bulldogs want to finish with a touchdown. They gave up some points on their last drive, and this may take us to the end of the quarter as Jaden Barr standing over with offensive coordinator Jason Kilday and head coach Greg Nesbitt on the near sideline. A scoreless first quarter at Stoke Stadium. Homecoming Saturday will return in 1 minute on KRES Moberly and CentralMoInfo.com. That first quarter zipped on by, and I'm guessing that Truman had the better of it in the yardage in the first quarter. Eric will go ahead and take
that'd be
take a look at the numbers.
Pretty safe assessment there, Brad. Right now, the rushing department is 83-2.
All right, power pistols, I call it, or the inverted wishbone around Barr, and he'll give it off to Salima. Finds a cut-up lane to the 10, breaks a tackle, and then double-teamed and brought down at the 6-yard line. That's a first down. Jordan Salima with the 10-yard carry.
It is 33-28 Lincoln in the passing game, but again, I think we both love that play fake screen, and Truman's just been dominant on the perimeter early.
Salima coming into this game, 91 carries, the most on the team, 406 yards, averaging 4 yards a carry. Inverted bone around Barr, handed off to, Barr pulls it away, scooting to the near side, taken out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Picks up a couple. Jaden Barr, no joke in the running department. He not only leads this team in rushing, he is third in the Great Lakes Valley Conference from his quarterback spot, averaging 88 yards rushing per game. And we have an injured player for Lincoln. That is Siobhan Gross, one of their cornerbacks. And if we've got Hank Jansen down on the sideline, Hank, you're not going to talk to Eric Holm the whole game. Let's put you to work.
Yeah, I was saying, we never heard you so quiet.
What you got going on down there?
Well, I've had a problem with my headphones here, so I'm a little out of sync. But the Dogs, nice job mixing up. The play fakes seem to be a little sharper, a little better today. Several times, just like on that last one, I thought the back had it, the quarterback kept it. So nice job of blending it, mixing it. I didn't like the way it worked at the other end on second and short, and you end up not getting it on fourth. But nice drive here, getting it downfield, and stick this thing in the end zone.
Ray Armstead challenges you to a race, Hank Jansen at halftime.
I'm ready to rumble.
He looks good, though. He looks good.
Let's go, baby. I told you before, Boyer, if he spotted me 350 meters, I could beat him in the open 400.
And we kicked that around in the newsroom this week. It was split decision on that one.
50 meters. You don't think I'd be good for 50 meters?
I'm not saying who doubted you. I'm just saying there was doubt. All right, it's second and goal from the 3-yard line. Straight handoff to Salima as he backs his way toward the goal line. He's close. They'll mark his progress down inside the 1-yard line.
I'm admittedly surprised there that did not get through, and the reason I say that is because when this drive started, Salima got a good 3-4 yard push out of his offensive line, but there just got stood up at the goal line regardless as Truman plans to go for it here. Satula comes in, Salima exits. I thought that was good patience out of Salima on that run. He waited for the hole to develop, got himself near the goal line.
Satula, the tailback, I formation. Barr, quick snap, handed to Satula. He blasts his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Truman. Bulldogs score first, and how about that? 96-yard touchdown drive to the end zone. The Bulldogs put points on the board with 13:35 to play in the first half for Andy Satula, his third rushing touchdown of the season. And as mentioned, the other two were game winners in the fourth quarter the last 2 weeks. Extra point attempt by Josh Scheiderer is good, and the Bulldogs lead 7-0 with 13:35 to play in the first half on a 1-yard plunge by Satula. Nice work by that offensive line.
11 plays, 96 yards. As you mentioned the 96, just throwing in there the 11 plays. I like that I formation. Nothing cute about that one, Brad. Just pushing it down their throat.
Nice response after disappointment on the first possession. And the Bulldogs will get in kickoff formation. Roller with a touchback on the opening kickoff of the game. Hank, if we've got you, how about that 96-yard drive?
Yes, I like it. And you know, mostly slamming it. Ball deceptive. I'm telling you, the play fakes are better today. They're crisper. Maybe it's a combination of being in the eye, under center, and then taking in the pistol both. But the play fakes are much better. I've been deceived a couple of times, and all of a sudden, here comes Barr turning for yards.
Rollers kickoff. This one is high and shorter, end over end, taken at the 9-yard line. Dancing in the middle of the field is Muhammad Rogers, then tries to get to the outside, and there's Jordan Siegel making the stop. Siegel just one of several players making an impact in so many ways for this Truman team that comes in 3-3, 2-0 in the conference. Siegel not only getting better and better at that strong safety spot, had a tremendous game last week, but he's involved in multiple phases of special teams. Blue Tigers come out and will start this drive at the 24-yard line. Their victories this season over Lane in the opener 10-7 and over SBU 28-13. Ogala to the near side, caught by Tibbs, his favorite target, and slammed in the back by Woods. And that's a pickup of 5 on first down. Blake Tibbs is a returning second-team all-conference receiver out of Decatur, Georgia, 6'1", 185, a senior, 27 catches, 412 yards coming in to lead the team, averaging 15 yards a catch. Last year in his all-conference season, 38 catches, 372, 3 touchdowns. Twin receivers to each side, pistol formation for Ogala. And we'll hand it off to the running back. Ferguson gets the pads low, but the Bulldogs are there to meet him. John Sheeler on the tackle for the Bulldogs, along with Brookfield Bulldog Reed McBroom, who had 4 tackles in getting his first start of the season last week at McKendree.
Brad, I'm so impressed by the way Reed McBroom has developed as a football player. We'll get into that a bit more here after this upcoming play. Broke the huddle pretty quick.
3rd down and 2. And the snap to Ogala, handed off to Ferguson, slides through a crease for a first down. Hanging on for the tackle, DeVecchi, but Ferguson to the 38 to move the sticks.
Just playing in that Clarence Cannon Conference, McBroom obviously got so many headlines as a running back, but he was still phenomenal on the defensive end. It pretty much all stayed all over the field. But that being said, I didn't know how the foot speed would translate to the Division II level. That's why you knew it'd have to be on the defensive side. But that being said, he has held up so well and probably cracked this starting lineup sooner than we or Coach Nesbitt could have expected coming in.
Greg Nesbitt, the head coach, is his position coach. He's the linebackers coach. Ogala rolling out to the far side, throwing against his body. The catch made, but I think it's out of bounds. Let's see. I got to give it to him? Yeah, I think the official said it's so obvious I don't even need to signal. So that one is an incompletion. It'll be 2nd down. Mr. Bulldog, were you disappointed? You were not the Grand Marshal once again.
Once again,
passed over.
Next year.
It was cool. It was really cool for Ray. We visited this morning before for a minute, and along with Susan Thomas, the university president. It was really cool.
2nd down and 10. Here is Ogala, hands it off to Ferguson, and is stood up and finally tackled. A gain of 4, maybe 5, then a late flag occurs. There was some action behind the play, and we'll see if it's offsetting or if it is going to be on one side. Lawrence Woods came out clapping, and DeVecchi said, I didn't do it, Coach. It's on their side, so we'll see if he's right. This Lincoln team, it was maybe a handful of years ago, had an embarrassing amount of penalties, but you just get the feel under Stephen Smith, maybe a little tighter ship. They are more disciplined, and you're seeing some good things from this Lincoln program, but that not one of their good moments, as a personal foul has been whistled on the Blue Tigers, and for an offense, Eric, that at times inconsistent in moving the football, to pick up a 15-yard penalty on what was going to be 3rd down and 6, that really sets your offense down.
It's no way around it. A drive killer, barring something very surprising here. And even earlier in the game, that holding call that resulted in having to punt in a sack, and also there was a motion penalty on a 3rd and 2 earlier.
3rd down and 20. Ogala drops it off on a screen and right through the hands. They had a middle screen set up and incomplete. Had some blockers too. So a break for the Bulldogs on the drop. Eric Bryce, they don't always use a tight end, but they wanted the tight end screen, middle of the field. Looked to be set up, but a drop. And on comes the punt unit. Is Eric calling for the block here?
It's a good time. They're a bit depleted right now.
Nope, they'll only send one at the punter. And here is a punt angling away. It's going to be a flag here as Newell is dropped, and there's a flag on both ends of this play. I think what the call is on the Truman side is Ian Ronan tried to jump over the protector. I think that's where the flag is.
That'd be an automatic first down.
Right. But then we've got a flag now on this end of the field, and if it's in the course of play and not a post-play foul,
it would offset
then they would offset. Ronan tried to jump over the top to get the block, and I think the protector may have helped him go over the top, and that is a foul now in college football. It wasn't running into the kicker, I don't believe. But again, on what may have been a late hit at the end of the play, we may have an offsetting situation. This Bulldog team comes in with a record of 3-3, 2-0 in the conference. Indianapolis, the only other team undefeated, 3-0 in the GLVC. Seems like they just finished their game a couple hours ago. They had 3 storm delays in Rolla last Saturday, and it took the game into the early morning hours. So by Indianapolis time, it was 1:30 in the morning when they ended, and they hadn't even started the bus.
You were telling me that good anecdote. I still haven't caught it. I'll have to check it out on Twitter. But you said that they tweeted a picture of the sunrise, right?
They caught the sunrise on the bus going back.
That's never good.
That's not good. That'll cut into your weekend.
Yeah, seriously.
10:58 to play in the first half. Neither team is on the field right now as we're sorting this out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm a little lost now.
I think it is going to be the offsetting.
Are we going to do this all over again?
Well, I don't really know. It looks like they're going to mark off one penalty, then they're going to maybe mark off the other. So here's the mark off against Truman on the foul against Ronan. And then it is going to be Lincoln football. So apparently, well, I wish I'd have seen the signal or heard it now. I'm not really sure how it
I didn't see it either.
But it is an automatic first down on the Truman penalty.
See if they get anything here in the play-by-play.
So the Blue Tigers' possession is still alive as Ferguson is tackled after a short gain of 2. I believe it was Floyd there. And also stepping in the hole was McBroom. So area players combined for the stop there from Columbia and Brookfield. Gain of 2. Kimbo Ferguson had a 100-yard rushing game against Quincy last week, 102. Their leading ball carrier coming into this week, 310 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, 51 yards per game. Johnny Johnson in motion. Ogala to throw it, 2nd and 8. Here's a tip ball on a screen pass by DeVecchi, incomplete.
That was intended for Johnson there, and not really on the same page. Truman was closer to intercepting that than it was to being completed. That just was not very good execution on Lincoln's behalf.
And for DeVecchi, his second pass broken up this season. Bulldog fans want to stop on 3rd down. Sunshine trying to break through the clouds here on a brisk Saturday afternoon in Kirksville. Truman up 7-0, 10:15 to play first half. Bulldogs will blitz at Ogala. They've got him scrambling. Edwards is after him and just shot putting it to the side. Ogala nearly intercepted by Siegels. He laid out at the 40.
That ball certainly did not get back to the line of scrimmage. I am positive.
That has to be a grounding call.
I am certain that ball was 5 yards shy of the line of scrimmage, and I'm very rarely definitive unless I'm positive about a call. That is absolutely intentional grounding.
I agree with you. I don't know why I don't know. That's not even close. He certainly was outside the tackle box, but that's not even close.
You have to reach the line of scrimmage.
You have to reach the line. Yeah.
And That's 20 yards we're talking, probably.
No doubt. Here's a punt taken by Newell. Breaks through containment across the 25, then spun down at the 29-yard line.
The Truman staff has to be all over that one. There's no doubt in my mind that is intentional grounding, because you have to. People often mistake that. They always just say, oh, he's out of the tackle box. You have to get the football back to the line of scrimmage. It did not happen, and we can say that definitively because we saw where the football landed, because Siegel dove for it, and he was 4 yards shy of the line of scrimmage. So that is intentional grounding that did not get called.
Bulldogs go with the inverted bone around Jaden Barr. A receiver to each side. Football at the 30 to start this drive. Bulldogs went 96 yards on their last possession to put the only points of the game on the scoreboard. Malik Robbins has checked into the Bulldog lineup out of Quincy, Illinois. He'll take the hand. No, it's pulled away by Barr. Good decision as he rips through a hole right in the middle of the defense to the 43-yard line. Pickup of 13 for the junior signal caller out of California High School.
By the way, Brad, just to finish up on that whole personal foul deal, it's saying in the official box score that Ronan got tagged with a personal foul. So Lincoln kept the ball, but now back in Truman's hands, obviously, with the first down.
So apparently there was no flag on the receiving end.
Correct.
Then first down and 10, 43, Barr under center, I formation, and Satula is stuck in the backfield. The Blue Tigers blow up that play. And let's see who the lead tackler was. Victor Williams, linebacker, in there, along with Joseph Madrigal, a strong safety. They have a number of players from the state of Florida and California. Lincoln has brought in players from all over the country, and Hank Jansen has been looking at the roster. Hank, you get out the atlas.
15 from Georgia, and certainly a bunch from California and Florida, and scattered all over the place.
Second down and 14. Barr fakes it. He will throw it to no one. He wanted Ronan, who was well covered by Madrigal that time, just across midfield. I will also say this for Coach Smith. Unlike past Lincoln teams where we've become accustomed to players all over the country, he has made an effort, and we've seen it from the Moberly standpoint, of Drake Davidson and Drake Rucker on the team. They've got Will Sewell as a backup linebacker from Hannibal, so they have tried to make a recruiting effort in Missouri, mid-Missouri as well. Third down and 13, football at the 39-yard line. Can Truman convert? Deep drop by Barr. They want a screen pass, and it's covered up. Never could get Satula free with blockers, as Lincoln had that one snuffed out.
Brad, you're exactly right. It's so paramount to when you build a program. You've got to have a home presence, and let's be honest. There's some teams around the state that haven't necessarily dominated recruiting in their backyard. You've got to always have a focus internally and then build outward and try and attract talent. It's important to have good relationships on the home front, and obviously we cover a lot of Moberly, so very cool to see a couple of the Spartans on the roster.
All right, the Blue Tigers line up across the line. They'll get a couple through. Roller lifts it high into the air, a wobbler. Back to the 12-yard line, and a big tackle by Wood, saying I can do it in the return game, and I'm also a pretty good gunner, as he gets down the field and nearly takes the head off of Muhammad Rogers.
I like that you used the word gunner there. I guess he fit the description pretty well of his position, and he sure flashes that in the return game as well. D'Anthony Knight, his fellow corner, had a pretty big breakup in the end zone a week ago that Hank had a phenomenal look at in the McKendree game, and then Siegel sealed it with a pick. Woods had the kick return for a touchdown. Truman just coming off a huge win, clicking on a lot of cylinders right now.
But only up 7-0. Defense got to stay sound. Here's a handoff, and good run defense there. Gain of a yard for Ferguson. Jake Floyd's having a good game so far inside. He is really standing his ground, and we have an injured lineman, Dakota Cox, 6'6", 352. One of those kids out of Georgia is down on the ground. He's 6'6", 352. Jamal Brown out of Lawrence, Kansas, 6'3", 399. He must have told the coaches, no way, don't put 400 beside my name, 399.
It'd be too personal at that point.
Jacoby Kradich is 6'7", 390 out of Albany, Georgia. Drake Rucker from Moberly, 6'7", 310. Again, they average 344 on a mountain of a offensive line, but some concern for their tackle, Dakota Cox. The smallest players, their center, Cyril Spells, 6'1", 271 out of Delray Beach, Florida.
He's been down for a while at this point. Obviously, in the congestion there, I certainly couldn't tell what transpired. We
mentioned their coach, Stephen Smith, at Albany State before he came to Lincoln. Greg Nesbitt pointed out, too, in the Truman Tailgate Show, had some time in the NFL as an offensive line coach. That is one of his specialties, and this doesn't look good for this young man. He'll have to be helped to the sideline, barely able to put weight on the leg.
Yeah, and he is... Obviously, it's never good in this situation, but at least seeing him put a little bit of weight is encouraging, just because the way he was down, flat on that back for a while. I'm just glad to see that he's up, and albeit needing significant help, he's at least on his feet.
Bulldogs have beaten the Blue Tigers 22 straight times. That goes back to when the two were in the MIAA and played yearly, and then there was a time where Lincoln dropped out Division II. Then they ended up in another conference, the Heartland Conference, and then they got back into the MIAA. And then in 2014, with a scheduling alliance between the MIAA and the GLVC, Lincoln and SBU came in as football-only schools to the Great Lakes Valley Conference, and these two teams have played ever since. The Bulldogs have won all four. Ogala steps up in the pocket and he's sacked. And that is Sam Reeves with the takedown. That is his 7th sack of the season, the 29th of his career, as he inches closer to the Truman record. He is just 3 away from the all-time mark. And what a huge sack he got last week in the McKendree game. After that lightning delay, gave the football to his offense, and Truman scored the winning touchdown.
You could see that one developing, just coming from the blind side. He stood no chance, and that was a big hit. He's lucky he held on to that football.
3rd down and 13. Ogala from the goal line, sacked again. Is it Reeves? Bennett Swope with the sack. The freshman out of Kansas City Liberty High School, back-to-back sacks, and the Blue Tigers all the way back at the 2-yard line.
And Reeves did a good job, though, coming around the tackle, forces Ogala to come up, and that's where Swope delivers the blow. So that's good teamwork in pass rush.
And the punter is as far back as he can get, Wolke Bellencourt. Bulldogs are going to play for a return for great field position. Newell with the catch at the 39 with some room. 35 sheds a tackler to the 30. 9-yard return. Nicely done. Don't let it hit the turf and give your offense terrific field position. What we talked about when we were looking at the size of Lincoln's O-line, Eric, it's one thing to be big, but are you quick enough to keep the smaller defensive linemen out of the backfield in back-to-back sacks?
To put it bluntly, Brad, if you're Lincoln and you've got the biggest line practically in all of football, there's obviously going to be some kind of drawback there, and that's the quickness on the perimeter, and because of that, Truman's been able to capitalize, the quickness on the edges of the line.
You got to capitalize here on great field position from the Lincoln 30 to start this drive. Play action pass. Barr whips it outside to Ruffin, and this is going to be very little gain. Wanted the wheel route to Malik Robbins out of the backfield, and the Blue Tigers were able to cover that, and the check down to Ruffin only picks up a yard. Love to see Malik Robbins get in space and make a play, get him involved in this offense.
And we haven't called his name too much this year.
Yeah, senior out of Quincy, and he's got skill. Was the all-time leader in rushing for the Blue Devils before Jarrell Block, an Iowa State commit, broke the record this season. Here is Barr out of the bone, pulls it away, and he scrambles to space across the 20, first down yardage. That play has been money out of that formation, Eric, the inverted bone.
Absolutely, and what was also interesting there, Barr wasn't a sideline runner there. I thought he did a good job of navigating his way through traffic. A lot of times he's using speed and just getting around to the perimeter. There, I really like the way he let his blocks develop and shifted a little bit.
6'7" tight end Jake Ellis spreads out to the right. Ruffin to the left, handed off to Salima, and a good surge by the Bulldog offensive line to pick up a quick 4 yards after the 10-yard carry by Barr. Tanner Hageman is in at a guard spot for the Bulldogs, senior out of Fenton, Missouri, or All-Stater out of Rockwood Summit.
This is a pivotal sequence in this game, Brad, because Lincoln doesn't have the greatest passing game. Truman can punch it in here and get the football to open the second half.
Pablo Adame is in at center, snaps it back to Barr, who hands it off to Satula, picks up a couple right over Adame. Pablo out of McAllen, Texas. When he goes to center, then Nick Verbeck shifts over to tackle. We've seen O-line coach Dan Hernandez use the offensive line much like we see skill players being shuttled in and out of the game, going with some different units, some fresh guys. Ellis to the right and Ruffin to the left. Go to that power pistol, the inverted bone around Barr. He wants to option out of it. Draws a defender and pitches to Satula. To the 10 to first down yardage. Spins off a tackler down to the 7-yard line. A well-timed pitch by the Bulldog signal caller.
Is there a better look of the option than that? Barr is about to get crushed, and you just know, yep, this is a first down because of how much space there is to your pitch man. And Satula, you knew right from the start that was a first down. You couldn't ask for better spacing. Read your keys, make the play. I love that.
In basketball terms, it's a fast break.
Yeah,
draw the one defender and then pitch it off for a layup. Here's a handoff to Satula, picking his way through traffic and is down to the 3-yard line. Bulldogs pretty content. I mean, these aren't glamorous highlight reel plays, Eric, but they're effective in the red zone.
They absolutely are, and I had commented about kind of the double possession element about a minute and a half ago, so now the clock's already about to be inside 4 before this play. You can punch it in here and get another stop and go into the half.
3 backs of the backfield, the inverted bone around Barr, handed off to Satula, and this time stood up. The Blue Tigers won the line of scrimmage that time. So it's going to be 3rd and goal. Ruffin and tight end C.J. Brown will check in. McLaughlin, who was in there for a snap, will check out. Hayden Holt, who was in at a fullback, will check out. All right, what's your play? Coaches out there. 3rd and goal from the 4.
I'm running it again here. You could go play action, but I'd like to run it again. Maybe see if you can get close. Give yourself 4-down territory if you don't score.
2 tight end formation, 2 backs of the backfield. Fake it. Barr wants to throw to the fullback, and it is covered. Morris was covered that time, and there was a strong rush hard on Barr by Amani Nelson. And the Bulldogs will send out the field goal unit with 3:17 to play in the half, up 7-0.
An opportunity to make this a 2-possession game with the all-important, with the all-reliable Scheiderer. So I like the decision to kick here for sure. But like I said, easy to say now that it was incomplete, but kind of like the idea, the way the run was working there, maybe make it 4-down territory if you get close. But Scheiderer can make this a 10-0 game.
From the right hash mark, a 21-yard field goal attempt. And the Kickapoo kicker knocks it off the scissor list between the uprights for his 10th field goal of the season in 11 tries. And the Bulldogs go up 10-0 as we send it down to the sideline and Hank Jansen.
Nice drive you'd like to. Got it to you, and a sure-handed return at the 30, but couldn't quite stick it in, couldn't quite make it happen. Get a score. Defense has been quite solid. You know, I suppose you can get greedy. You got a couple timeouts left and think you might get it back and get another crack here in the second quarter, but defense has been quite solid.
As we call it, Brad, a plug or a promotion in the industry. Since he's been all reliable, let's give a shout-out to Papa Scheiderer. We met him at McKendree last week. Real nice guy. You can listen on iHeartRadio or on CentralMoInfo.com. He listens to us that way.
He listens to iHeart.
And if you're listening to us right now terrestrially, but you get on the road at any point, check it out just like him and root on those Bulldogs.
All right. Once I figure out what listening terrestrially means, I'm all over it.
Yeah, there you go.
What did he say? His son's long was 47 in high school, wasn't
correct.
it? 47. Scheiderer kicked a 46-yarder last week. Right before halftime was a big kick. His season high, his freshman season. Roller is the kickoff man, and he'll lift this one high end over end, caught at the 9. Mohamed Rogers to the left side as we see it up top, and is tackled by Fischel and Meyerson at the 26-yard line. Bulldogs have 2 timeouts. The Blue Tigers have 3. We say that because either team could use their timeouts in this series. Helicopter floats over the top of Stoke Stadium.
We've seen a few at Spartans games. That's the first one I've seen here this year.
The Statesmen ready to present the halftime show and a lot of pageantry. We mentioned Ray Armstead, gold medalist, Truman Bulldog, Derek Kent, and Kelly Kent, a couple of former Truman athletes. Young Alumnus of the Year being honored here today, along with Dick Ernson, who played. We'll let Eric's going to have to do a little research on Harry Gallatin because he was with the Knicks. Harry Gallatin played for Truman, and on those teams, Dick Ernson, and he was also honored as one of the alums of the year here at Homecoming. We have a flag on Lincoln after a short carry. You all over the Harry Gallatin?
I am. Is it old school? He's rocking the old school Converse.
Oh, shoot. Knickerbockers, you bet.
6'6", 210 pounds.
He was
good size
big
back then. Played at Truman from 46 to 48, Knicks 48 to 57. Spent his final year with the Pistons. Oh, and he coached, too, the Knicks.
Yeah, he was Hall of Famer. And his nickname was the Horse.
7-time All-Star.
Gallatin.
Wow.
Yep. And here is a short plunge for 3 yards. Yeah, Hank, I know it wasn't a weekend for Hall of Fame this time, but boy, a lot of former Bulldogs with great careers have joined us this weekend.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Mr. Erzin, who was one of that gang that played and clearly has gone on and whatnot, and we know him most of these guys through their Bulldog careers. Obviously, a little different with Harry Gallatin and his Edwardsville connection in the NBA, but most of the others, they move on and they play and go on, and then you realize years later that they've accomplished a lot of things in a variety of fields. 2nd down and 12. Here is Ogala scrambling again, and he's knocked down, and that will be, I believe, a sack for Mr. Reeves.
Yeah, and nicely there, too. That was a little bit of friendly fire as well. I'm curious to see who they'll credit that to, because he might have gotten tripped up. He also kind of had some friendly fire there, ran into his own guy, and Neisler was closest to it. But if Reeves kind of started the trip, maybe they'll give it to him.
Timeout taken by Truman. They want to preserve time for the offense with 2:04 left and a 3rd and 14 coming. Speaking of Sam Reeves, the two-sport athlete, well, he's still got 2 sports at Truman, as the wrestling program was able to fundraise and save the program for another year. And coming up at halftime, I'll visit with Truman Director of Athletics Jerry Walmering about Bulldog wrestling and men's tennis being extended for another season. We'll also talk about the alums that are back, and also the announcement in the last couple weeks that Lindenwood will be coming in the Great Lakes Valley Conference next year. But Sam Reeves, certainly a standout 2-sport athlete. He bearing down on the career sack record, the career tackles for loss record, and he should have that record, as we'll check the halftime stats, at least a tie with Nick Abadi for that mark with what he's done in the first half.
They did give DeVecchi that last one.
They did, okay. 3rd down and 15 yards for the Blue Tigers. Ogala looking to the near side. Now has to shift. Now just launches it up, and it goes through the hands. He actually gave his receiver a pretty good shot at it. Incomplete near side.
You're not wrong, Brad. I thought that was some good footwork in the pocket just to give himself a chance there. He threw that ball a little bit high, but I'm surprised he was able to get that to the sidelines.
Karakakos, the intended receiver. And that would have been close to first down yardage. So now the Bulldogs get the best of both worlds, an incompletion and a stoppage on the incompletion. Don't have to use a timeout. Bellencourt with the punt, and it is fielded, and then Newell is spun down. Didn't make a fair catch in traffic, and is tackled at the 47-yard line. So the Bulldogs have 1:49 left, 1 timeout. Good field position as we go down to the field, and Hank.
Certainly plenty of time to get some done. Hey, the highlight of the parade for me this morning, gentlemen, was talking to Ben Gray, Schuyler County native, was an offensive lineman here in the late 90s.
I think you're in the way of the scissor list, Hank. We're going to have to move you over out of the way there, and we'll get you some.
I may just climb that list.
There you go. Now we got you. We'll go back down after this play. Here is a Barr dropping straight back to throw it. Now will try to escape up the middle and is tackled. Nice job by Ben Shoemate. Go back down to Hank.
Yeah, they're going to be in a little hurry up. We'll get it in later.
Okay. Second down and loss of a half yard there. So that'll go as a sack. Salima in the backfield. Bulldogs trying to hurry up. 90 seconds to play. Twin receivers to the near side, wide side of the field. That's where Barr's rolling with his shoulder pad, flopping outside his jersey, and his pass knocked away. He wanted Woods at the 48-yard line. Nice job closing on the ball by Siobhan Gross.
Great description there, Brad, as he sure did have that shoulder pad flapping. They usually get that taken care of, but a defender was kind enough from the Lincoln side. Good sportsmanship there, and tucked that back in for him after the play.
Third down and 11 coming. We'll hear from Greg Nesbitt as he heads off the field at halftime. We'll have our visit with Jerry Wolmering, and we'll see who else drops by at halftime. Three receivers come to the left side, one to the right. Third down and 11. Four-man rush. Barr steps up and is scrambling to space across midfield. 45, first down as he tiptoes the sideline to the 40-yard line. A pickup of 13 yards to move the sticks.
So much of what Barr does is designed in the run game. There, though, a must-pass situation, third and long. Just a good job of surveying the entire field. Sees that he's got an opening and does just that. Gets the first down on the ground and gets out of bounds to top it off.
That was either so obvious that it presented itself to Barr to just take out, or it was a design quarterback run out of the gun. That was quick. First down at the 40-yard line. Barr waking to take the shotgun snap, drops. Here comes a big rush right through the middle, and Barr's just going to have to waste it out of bounds with 1:08 to play. Hank, let's go back down to you.
Well, I was talking about Ben Gray, the Schuyler County native, played offensive line, one of Big John's boys. He's running for associate circuit judge. He's an attorney, and he came over to me, and we had an excellent conversation. I went back out in the street, and we talked about Big John, and you well know, Brad, Big John was way more than X's and O's in football. His main deal was life lessons. Let's get these young men ready to go into communities and be citizens and be good people. And Mr. Gray said clearly, without Big John's influence, probably wouldn't be where he was today. It was a fun conversation.
All right, John Ware. Second down from the 40. Big rush. Screen pass. Oh, Salima had actually gotten behind his blockers. It was wide open, but Barr did not have enough time to survey the field.
Another third and long here for Truman.
I'll say this, Lincoln has had a healthy pass rush, haven't they?
They've played as well as you could ask them in this spot. You've got to be impressed.
Offense hasn't threatened much, but the defense has held its ground. Truman up just 10-0. You'd hate to give up this good field position late in the half. 1:03 left. Third down from the Lincoln 40. Trips to the left, one to the right, one back of the backfield. Here comes a blitz, and Barr will run right at it. He's got a blocker to the 35, outside to the 30. First down. Nice job by Jordan Salima, who turned into a blocker for his quarterback, and it's a first down at the Blue Tiger 26.
And that's no doubt a design QB draw there. Very conventional. Get that back to the side of Barr. Use him as the lead blocker. I love the way that was designed and executed. There was no hesitation on Barr's behalf, and I don't even know if he got touched before he got to the first down line.
So you counter the blitz by going right at it. Twin receivers to each side. Satula in the backfield. 57 seconds left to play in the first half. Truman looking to increase its lead here on homecoming Saturday. Barr, straight drop from the pocket, launches it down far sideline, looking for Ruffin, and it's through his hands, incomplete. He was covered pretty well by Steve Henderson, but he had a chance to make that catch far side of the end zone.
He sure did. That's one you'd like to see your receiver come up with. That's one of, if not Barr's best throw of the year. It's right where it has to be, only where Ruffin could get it nice up and high. A good opportunity for a strong hands catch. Love that throw. And such a game changer here, getting that first down with the football to start the second half as well. Feels so much different if you could add points than it would being up 10-0 if you're in Lincoln's position.
3-by-1 across the line of scrimmage. Barr will drop to throw it. They let the rush through. Blue Tigers recognize it's a screen, and they get in retreat mode, and Barr just has to turf the football with 48 seconds left. The Bulldogs have not been able to set up a screen pass yet today. Blue Tigers scouting report on the Bulldogs been good.
Yeah, Truman went with a receiver screen early in the game, but we haven't seen much of that of late. It's really been geared toward trying to get the backs involved ever since.
3rd down and 10, 26-yard line. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. 48 seconds left in the half. Barr looking to throw it, now scrambling, dancing, now dropped. Bulldogs will have a decision to make, and a timeout going to be taken with 39 seconds left to play in the first half.
I would expect that they'll kick this ball. We've seen what Scheider can do. This would be about a 3-ish, 44-yard. I don't even football yet. Let's see. Oh, they have a spot. Okay, it'd actually be about 45, 46. Looks like they might leave the offense on the field.
And looking at the flags on the top of the
that's why they have
uprights.
There we go.
Oh, we got a flag?
Well, there's an actual flag. That's what I hadn't seen yet. There's an actual flag.
Well, this is a big call against Lincoln. Man, oh, man. Wow. Again, you talk about penalties that keep you from playing winning football. There's one right there. First down to the 13-yard line, 37 seconds to play. On Crest, we were away for a play, and the Bulldogs didn't get anything done on a 3rd down run. It was going to be 4th and 10, but a penalty by Lincoln has the Bulldogs set up at the 13-yard line, still with 1 timeout in their pocket, leading 10-0.
That is just pivotal. I'm still trying to see what the penalty was. We didn't even see the flag until the very end there. Face mask on Muhammad Roger.
Yep.
It must have been because he got sacked. It must have been in the congestion there. He must have yanked on that face mask.
Sometimes the face mask can be a bad luck penalty. You know,
yeah,
you're certainly not searching for it, and sometimes you just all of a sudden end up with a handful of
guys going down, and your face mask can catch the hand as much as anything sometimes, and then you're trying to just grab and make a play.
Nichols, Ronan, and Newell all here to the wide side, left side of the field, Ruffin to the right. Barr's looking to the right. Fakes it. Wheel route for Salima. Well covered. 50-50 ball incomplete as Salima turned into the defender that time.
That was phenomenal coverage because, like you said, that was a routine wheel route where Salima breaks to the sideline and Barr was eyeing him, and then that late cut up the field. I thought the defender just did a phenomenal job of carrying that route.
Truman has not gotten anything going in the passing game, but I'm giving Lincoln a lot of credit. Their coverage has been really good here in the first half. Bulldog receivers are really going to have to work hard to get open here today. Again, 3-by-1 setup for the Bulldogs, 2nd down and 10. Barr from the pocket. Searching, now scrambling, now just lets it fly out of bounds to preserve yardage with 26 seconds left. I mean, how many completions has Truman had? Less than 5. I don't know if it's been more than 2 or 3.
Barr just 7 for 18.
Oh, well, see,
because some of those quick, you had the quick pass and the fakes.
Yeah.
That's why the yards per attempt all year has been rather low. He gets a lot of those kind of completions.
Same setup, 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Satula in the backfield. 3rd down and 10 from the 13-yard line. You can use the middle of the field. You got a timeout, and Barr is on the scramble. Now he's sprinting to the near side, and the closing speed of the Blue Tigers get to him. Austin Harris, freshman safety, with what amounts to a sack back to the 18-yard line, and now the Bulldogs will let the clock wind down and set up for a Scheiderer field goal. Well, that's quite a stand by the Lincoln defense. Really, they had to defend 6 plays inside the scoring territory after the face mask call.
And I don't want to sound like I'm beating it to death by any means, but again, still that need to develop the vertical passing game for Truman. You can do this and still hold the lead and still need things to work on. And I think that's a very fair assessment that I'm sure you and Hank would agree with. It's just in winning games right now, and you've been playing well. But in order to get to that next step, those plays like the one by Ruffin in the corner of the end zone, those are just going to have to be made. If you want to beat a team like Indy or someone of the upper echelon, you're not going to be able to rely on 3rd and 10 draws that's just reality of what it takes to maximize a team's ability.
Josh Scheiderer on for his second field goal attempt of the day. This will be a 35-yarder. Scheiderer at Valparaiso tied a Truman record with 4 made field goals of 28, 38, 18, and 31 yards. The quarterback is your holder, Barr, from the left hash mark, and a timeout's going to be taken by Lincoln.
Trying to make him think a little bit.
And they could do this a couple more times as they have their full complement of timeouts. Let's hope not. 2 seconds left. Again, at halftime, we'll hear from Jerry Wolmering. We can recognize some of our sponsors. Century 21 Whitney Agency of Kirksville gets it sold. Like them on Facebook or visit c21kirksville.com, the only website you need for Northeast Missouri real estate. Dr. John Bailey at Mid-America Orthopedic and Spine Institute in Kirksville has served as the lead team physician for the Truman Bulldogs for nearly 20 years. When you want the best care possible, see Dr. John Bailey at Mid-America Orthopedic and Spine Institute in Kirksville.
I've already gotten a sneak peek on that conversation with Jerry, but certainly a fascinating listen for all. It's really remarkable that enough fundraising was able to be raised to keep this going another year, but encourage you to stay tuned as there's more work to be done there. But we wondered what may hold of Sam Reeves' future this time about eight or whatever months ago.
All right, here we go. 35-yard field goal attempt from the left hash mark for Scheiderer. Placed down by Barr. Line drive. Shot is no good. Hooked it a bit this time and no good. So the Lincoln Blue Tigers head to the locker room despite not generating much offense, but feeling very much in this football game in Kirksville. 10-0.
So on one hand, Lincoln really didn't get anything going offensively. On the other hand, and you noted this a few times in that half, could you really have asked for a better defensive performance out of Lincoln there? Just really had Truman for the most. If you take away a 96-yard drive, they clamped down well when they had to on a lot of occasions in this contest. And even on the touchdown drive, it was 4th and goal when Truman converted. So I thought a really good defensive half of football out of Lincoln. But remember, Truman receives to open the second half, and we'll get our best chance of the day thus far to hear from the one. Well, actually, we've called Lawrence Wood's name a few times as a gunner, but we'll get our first chance in the kick return game. Getting some updated stats for you, Brad, before we get into some of those interviews, and I'll run through the full totals on the back end of the half. But just before we get to our first step away,
looks like we got Coach going now. So he's
there you go.
Finished his conversation with the officials. Well, not quite finished yet as he's walking off.
7 for 18, the numbers for Barr as we await for Coach Nesbitt, and now he goes over to Hank.
All right, let's go down to the field. No. We don't have his signal right now, so we may have to pass on this. We apologize. We don't have.
First time we haven't heard him all day.
Yeah, so we've lost the signal down on the field, so we'll have to work on that. We apologize for that. And the Bulldogs will have a 10-0 lead going into the locker room here. A 1-yard touchdown run by Andy Satula and a 21-yard field goal by Josh Scheiderer. But the Bulldogs miss a field goal before halftime. Also on their first drive, had a 2nd and 2 well into Lincoln territory. Couldn't finish off that drive either. So leaving some points on the field, but get the football to start the second half. Our halftime show will start up right after this 2-minute timeout. You're listening to Bulldog Football.
Defensively speaking, but otherwise right now it has been Lincoln also hanging in, playing well on the defensive side of things. Jaden Barge is 7 for 18 through the air with 29 yards, but rushing 10 carries for a $105, a 33 long. Andy Satula's got 6 carries for 17 yards and 1 touchdown, which was a 4th and goal run, capping an 11-play, 96-yard drive. That's right, Jordan Salima had 9 carries for 35 yards. In the receiving game, Hayden Holt has a 21-yard grab. That's about all going from a passing standpoint right now. For Lincoln, Henry Ogala, 5 of 11, 38 yards. Nothing doing rushing either. Kimbo Ferguson has 8 carries for 23 yards. On the defensive side of things, A.J. DeVecchi, 1.5 sacks on the contest. He has 3 tackles. I am Eric Duke alongside Brad Boyer. Second half of Truman football on the other side. 10-0 Truman State to receive to open the second half. 3 straight victories, pulled to even at 3-3 on the season, and now looking to move to 3-0 in conference play and remain atop the GLVC. You also heard from Cooper Soccer coming off a couple of sweeps. They'll have senior day tomorrow, so a lot of exciting things going on. We'll step aside. Second half is next. 10-0 Dogs on Crescent, CentralMoinfo.com.
Stokes Stadium. And we are going to be joined now by the Grand Marshal of the homecoming parade and a gold medalist from the 1984 Summer Olympic Games, Ray Armstead, back to Kirksville. Ray, how's the day been for you?
This has been a lovely day, filled with a lot of surprises and a lot of friends.
Well, that's terrific. Tell folks what you're doing these days. Are you still in St. Louis with the track program there?
I'm at the track program with U City High School,
yeah.
but I teach in Hazelwood.
Okay.
Elementary school teacher.
Very good.
Yes.
All right, so 1984, what are your memories?
Winning a gold medal.
Well, why not? Dumbest question.
Right.
Have a simple answer, right?
Right.
So, was that the best leg you've ever run at the games in LA?
The best and the scariest.
Why is that?
Didn't want to drop the baton.
Because
Didn't want to be the agony of
you
defeat.
knew you had the best team in the world, right?
You better believe that.
Yeah. So tell folks how it all comes together. You're a 400 guy. This combination worked. How did that four come together?
It was a dream come true. We had a time we had to make in order to make it to the Olympic trials. We made the time, being me and my coaches, and we got there and ran 4 rounds. And on the 4th round, I got 4th place, and it all worked out.
Worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your time at Truman and how it prepared you for the world stage.
Ooh, you talking about track and field or for the world itself?
Well, either one. Let's go track and field first.
Track and field, I was ready. I mean, we forecast anything that could happen at the trials and at the Olympics. It had happened, and I was ready for it.
Your time, I think I looked, was shade under 44. World-class time now is still around 43. It still holds up pretty well, doesn't it?
43.97 holds up now, and that was 30-some years ago.
I know.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how much lower it can possibly go if you
Right.
watch these guys.
It was unbelievable during that time, and just these long legs did it.
Yeah. So what's it like on the medal stand? When your anthem's playing, what's the emotions for?
Try not to cry, but being proud that you're an American. And just standing there and knowing your friends and family and even people from Truman were proud of me.
So how'd Truman prepare you for the world?
I'm a teacher, and I'm one of the best that's out there.
I love it. You got to compete professionally then overseas, right? I don't think people grasp how big track and field is overseas, isn't it, professionally?
They bring about 2 people that are Americans to compete at, Germany, Italy, wherever the case may be, and they plan for this all year long. And we just headliners, and it's just beautiful. I mean, 60,000, 90,000 people in the stands just to see you run.
It's unbelievable. What about our kid Lawrence Wood? Surely you saw the McClure South program at all, or not?
No.
When they won the state track and field, you guys didn't have any meets with them at all?
We didn't have any meets with those guys.
Really? So you don't know?
I don't know.
I want to see you guys run. I want to see you guys race.
In my dreams.
Ray, great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back.
You're good.
Ray Armstead, Olympian here, gold medalist, back as a Grand Marshal for the Truman homecoming, and we are underway with the second half. Malik Rahman's over the shoulder grab at the goal line. He's right back at the Blue Tigers, upended at the 24-yard line. Well, Eric,
I've now met a gold medalist. That's
that
pretty cool stuff. He looks in pretty good shape. I'll give Hank some credit in the 50-meter. He ain't making it in 100, though.
No. And then there's the story, maybe Hank will share, of the day when he did race him actually on a bicycle on his 10-speed. All right, well, some business at hand, and that's finishing off a victory, and that is far from secure at this point. The Bulldogs do get the football to start the second half, and they'll put Jake Ellis spread out to the left side, Ruffin to the right, go to that inverted wishbone around Barr, who will turn, fake it, pulls it away, and drops it off to Robbins, but there's that Blue Tiger defense right with the running back. Victor Williams drives him back. They have been terrific in coverage. And again, the screen game, which has been the strength of the Bulldog passing game this season, has been non-existent thanks to Truman, or thanks to Lincoln and their coverage units. They do give Robbins forward progress and a gain of 1. Satula back in the backfield with fullback Morris, and still trying to find any kind of space, not there. So 2 good defensive plays by the Blue Tigers.
So this Lincoln defense has lived up to its billing as the number 3 defense in the conference so far. Think about how easy it was a week ago in the second half at McKendree, and it just feels like a different ball game right now. It almost, you don't want to let somebody hang around for a long period of time, even if they've struggled to this point. Again, you never want to get too comfortable with where this score stands.
Trips to the left side, which is the wide side of the field. 3rd down and 8. Barr looking short, and he's got a receiver running. 1st down. Just a little curl route back to the defense and enough cushion there. Barr put it between the double twos, and Ronan curls it up the field, up the left rail to the 43-yard line. 1st down, Truman, and that was the best pass play of the game for the Bulldogs.
Yes, it was. There you go. And you know I've been wanting to see some of that up the field. A really good job just hitting that tight window throw.
Pablo Adame continues to be the center for the Bulldogs. Nick Verbeck has shifted over to right tackle. Here is a handoff to Salima. No, Barr pulls it away. And he scrambles to space to the far side, picks up 10 yards on 1st down. That's been the most effective running play we've seen during the game today, and that is when Jaden Barr pulls it away on the read and gets to the outside. Going to be a little bit short, gain of 9. C.J. Brown will check out. Brass Woods will check out. Jaden Barr on a knee, classic quarterback in the huddle, giving his instructions, and then breaks with the inverted bone around him, takes the shotgun snap, hands it off to Salima. Good surge by the Bulldog offensive line, blows off the Blue Tigers this time, and Salima picks up 8 yards to the 40-yard line of Lincoln. 1st down.
There are always several elements to a running game, but no matter how you look at it, Salima's been a different player the last couple of weeks. Decisive, hard cuts, and he's finding running lanes too. So like I said, I think the blocking comes into play there. But remember, he had that little banged up toe earlier in the year. That could always linger and be a concern, but he's been looking 100%.
Ricky McLaughlin in as a receiver to the left, Ellis to the right. Handed off to Salima, and again another good surge by the Bulldog offensive line. It's 2 in a row. They've blown the Blue Tigers off the football, gain of 5. Good blocking at the point of attack. And let's salute Pancake City for some pancake blocking. For pancakes and a whole lot more, stop by Pancake City, located at 2102 North Baltimore in Kirksville, where you'll find everything from their famous pancakes to sandwiches and steaks. Power up the pistol with that inverted bone. 2nd down and 7. Handed off a 3rd straight time to Salino. This time the bounce to the outside to 1st down yardage across the 30, ridden out of bounds at the 27-yard line, and all of a sudden the Bulldog offense in rhythm.
This is starting to, in a different way, almost take me back to the Jewel game a little bit. Just seeing a lot of one formation, like it was the I in that case. Now they're going to this inverted bone set, so that they're finding something that they feel works and continuing to execute it.
They'll stay in that inverted bone as Salima checks out, and Satula is the deep back. 1st down, 27-yard line. Satula takes the handoff to the 25 to the 24, then driven down, a gain of 3. When we say inverted bone, it is, if you're familiar with the 70s and the old wishbone offenses, the option out of the wishbone. You had the 2 deep backs and the fullback. Well, just flip it around, and that's what you've got around your quarterback in the classic now spread offenses that we have today. Nichols will spread out to the left side. His Hannibal Pirates won the NCMC championship last night. Ellis to the right side. Barr will fake it, keep it right up the middle. 1st down yardage and more. Breaks to the outside of the 15, breaks a tackle at the 10, down to the 5, down to the 4. Here comes a late flag in at the end of the play. It's goal to go for the Bulldogs, and may have been some kind of a face mask or horse collar down at the end of the play. Jaden Barr, nicely done again. With that deception in the backfield, now you have it, now you don't, pulls it away, and he was running right at Hank Jensen down around the 6. Hank, what'd you see?
I'm not sure what the flag is, fellas. It was right there, thrown right as the tackle was being made. Barr's helmet came off, obviously, as he left the field, and I'm not sure what it's going to be.
Wow, that's a late holding call.
Wow, it is. Well, now that's interesting because with Barr Well, now he's over here getting the play call, so. Yeah, that was a really late holding call. I thought for sure, Hank, it had something to do with the tackle.
You know, when he broke or eluded that last tackler and kind of cut inside, there were a couple of Bulldogs there trying to continue his progression downfield, and obviously somebody got in there with his hands and got a holding call. There were several dogs in the pile with 3 or 4 Lincoln tacklers.
And I thought, like you said, Hank, his helmet came out. He's got to come out for a play. Barr was heading back out there, but he is ushered right back off the field. So Dan Ziegler will take his first snap of the season, the sophomore from Rochester, Illinois. They won 3 titles in a row when he was quarterback at that powerhouse high school. And Ziegler is in to take the snap, and he'll hand it off to Satula. He'll try to bounce to the outside, taking a tackler with him down to the 5-yard line. Ziegler says, man, this is easy. Gave it off to Satula. First down carry inside the 5-yard line, and 15. Jaden Barr will check back in.
What's interesting about that last play is if there's a defensive penalty, then Barr would have been able to stay in despite losing the helmet. But now back into the ball game.
Barr flanked by a pair of running backs, one receiver to the left. Here's the handoff to Satula. He'll bounce off a tackler and into the end zone. Touchdown, Truman. 4-yard touchdown run for Jordan Salima. And his first touchdown of the afternoon. I said Satula mistakenly, as number 2, Jordan Salima, with the touchdown run. And the Bulldogs drive right down the field. They're opening possession of the second half and put 6 on the board. Scheider on to attempt the extra point, and he chips it right through the upright. 17-0. These S names. I saw 2, and I called Satula instead of Salima. It's not only the S's, but they're both Sa. Leaked out the wrong name. My apologies to Jordan Salima. His 5th rushing touchdown of the season.
And that was him who had set it up too with the nice run on the previous play. He's been doing a really good job in the open field in this contest.
That is also his 19th rushing touchdown of his career. The junior is now 1 away from the top 10 list. Quarterback Matt Tisich with 20 is 10th on the rushing touchdown list.
And I think that was a really encouraging drive for the Dogs. Again, I don't want to say sluggish in the first half, but ineffective, inefficient at times. You get a 3rd down conversion in the passing game. You had several 5- and 10-yard runs there to follow that 3rd down conversion, and then punching it in down near the goal line. Salima 15 for 73 and a touchdown now.
And he moved into 11th place on the career rushing list earlier today, passing James McCoy. And Roller gets into this one. That's going to be a touchback, his 2nd of the day. Truman up 17-0. You feel a little bit better about things, getting some breathing room.
Barr, by the way, up to 12 for 132 rushing.
So that is his 4th 100-yard rushing game of the season. Wouldn't that be something if he led the conference in rushing?
Yeah, it sure would. He's been that good week in
and he's got a chance.
And quite frankly, their offense doesn't stand a chance without it being part of the running game. It's been so effective.
Read option, and the Bulldogs are all over the quarterback, Ogala. That is Jake Floyd and DeVecchi there to blow up that play, as they gave the Bulldogs a look at the jet with a Johnny Johnson coming along the line of scrimmage. I say Barr has a chance to lead the league. He's probably got a better chance to finish 2nd in the league, as Al McKellar, the freshman of the year from Indianapolis, is having a strong season for the Greyhounds. They're 3-0 in the GLVC. The Bulldogs are trying to get to 3-0 here today. 2nd and 12. Ogala from the pocket throws that one low, and probably just as well. Good coverage by Eric Yackel and Jordan Siegel on their top receiver, Blake Tibbs, or it was Antonio Isaac. It was either 8 or 9 there, and it's going to be 3rd and long.
Brad, you can't overstate this enough right now. Ogala better keep his eyes, ears open, his pads locked in, because he is going to be under fire the rest of the day. This is not a team built to come back from a 17-0 deficit, and he's going to find himself under pressure a lot down the stretch.
Just going to look at Sam Reeves' numbers for the first half and see what they credited him for. 3rd down and 12 option play. Ogala runs right into traffic and goes down. Picks up 2. That's it. A designed option play and a quick cut up by the quarterback. And again, Jake Floyd there to clog things up.
Reeves got 1 sack in that first half.
Tackles for loss.
And just the one tackle for loss and a tackle for loss assist they're giving him.
That should put him in a tie for the record. Here's an angle punt, high, short. Newell going over, making a tough catch at the 42, but successful. And the Bulldogs, the way they drew it up in the locker room, drive down the field for a touchdown and then get a 3 and out. 8:21 to play, 3rd quarter. Truman up 17-0. After the game, our Colton Steakhouse and Grill post-game show. You might think about that if you don't have dinner plans on homecoming Saturday. Colton Steakhouse and Grill, Baltimore Strip at the south end of Kirksville. I saw Eric's eyes light up.
Yeah, why not? Sounded good.
All right, Jaden Barr heads out with running backs Malik Robbins and Andy Satula. Single receiver to each side. C.J. Brown, the tight end. Brass Woods will get to the hash mark, and they're going to throw a screen pass off to Robbins, and he'll cut it up for 1st down yardage into Lincoln territory down to the 44-yard line. The design of that play really set up Robbins to succeed here on the perimeter.
And really good to see him get involved in his final homecoming game. We were talking about him earlier and how much he has really not been a part of the offense or the return game to this part in the season. By the way, that's a formation and a style of play that we've seen effective all year for Truman. Kind of faking that crisscross. We've seen them pop that up to the tight ends in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. There they get it to the perimeter to Robbins for the 1st.
And Barr will turn, give to the deep back Satula, and he breaks through 35, angling to the near side 30, 25, and popped out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Andy Satula broke 3, and the Bulldogs are wearing on Lincoln right now.
And we highlighted him quite a bit in the pregame for what he's done to add another dimension to the offense. Shows you why there. And he's Truman faithful on homecoming with those little hand clappers. They're doing a nice job. Crowd noise has been a plus today.
Big crowd here, homecoming Saturday, always a good gathering. Talking to the Lincoln broadcast crew, they were very complimentary of the big crowd and the atmosphere here at Truman. Homecoming Saturday. Satula, 2nd straight tote, and gets to the 14-yard line before being driven back. And again, since halftime, we've seen a handful of those type runs, Eric, where the ball carrier doesn't encounter a tackler until 4 or 5 yards down the field.
Yeah, we just went in that battle up front. And again, let's not discount that Truman was getting some standstills in the running game in the first half. So that's something that's really encouraging that's developed since the locker room.
2nd down and 7 yards to go. Inverted bone around Barr. Receiver to each side. It's an option play. Quick pitch forced to Satula. On the cutback, he's got the 10-yard line, close to 1st down yardage. It's one thing to pop the quarterback quickly, but there's got to be support. Blue Tigers didn't have anybody on the pitch man. Satula. So consecutive runs by the former Rolla Bulldog picks up 8. And the Bulldogs have 2 more to get a 1st down.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if this isn't another running play.
Rough into the right side, 2 tight end formation. They'll go unbalanced to the right. That's where the play is headed, off right tackle, and it's close.
I don't know if he got that one.
No, he got His legs taken out from under him quickly by Victor Williams.
That was the inverted set without the pistol behind it. That was just a formation you don't see too often. It was quarterback and just a back to each side, nobody behind him though. And Truman looks content to kick this one.
Yeah, that's a big play by the Lincoln defense. Even if they concede a field goal, they keep it a 3-touchdown game. That will depend on Mr. Scheider. As he comes on, this is a 27-yard field goal attempt, and he is able to knock it through the uprights for his second field goal of the afternoon. A 27-yarder, the Bulldogs go up 20-0.
And responding from a miss, always nice to see that from a young kicker.
The field goal comes with 5:08 to play in the third quarter. Scheider now 11 of 13 in the field goal department, and he's doing quite well in the league in kick scoring, field goal scoring, and points overall.
Let's just get some perspective here on how stuck Lincoln has been offensively. 6.8 yards per attempt for Truman on the ground to a half a yard for Lincoln. 259 rushing yards to 8. That's right, 259 to 8. Lincoln's 5 for 12 passing. You heard that correctly. 4 first downs for Lincoln. 22 for the Dogs.
Roller ready to boot it away. And this one is deep. 2-yard line taken by Donovan Wright. He who hesitates goes down, and he does at the 17-yard line. Good kick coverage by the Bulldogs.
Brought down by number 44, Jake Hayes. Wyatt Fischel and Kenneth Myerson on the stop for the Bulldogs.
I was surprised Ray Armstead hadn't seen Lawrence Woods in track and field. I thought maybe they had crossed paths from McClure South and U City or not.
Or just heard about him from how much damage he's been doing on the football field.
Bulldog football has certainly a strong tradition going back 100-plus years. Here's a throwaway by Ogala, far sideline, but certainly track and field, another strong program producing many. Well, we'll call it world-class athletes here today on full display. Ray Armstead. Also honored at halftime, Derek Kent, second all-time tackler in Truman history, playing for those John Ware teams of the mid to late 90s into the 2000s. And Kelly Floyd, Kirksville girl, played for the women's basketball team at Truman, the young alumnus of the year. And here's another ineffective running play. Blue Tigers really struggling to get off the football.
And here's where you find yourself between a rock and a hard place. Now you're in a must-pass situation, and that's not a situation that suits Lincoln very well. And you don't want to get in the habit of being too predictable and passing on every first down, but it's just, this is a tough script to follow right now if you're Lincoln.
Selfishly, I'm hoping the Bulldogs get a stop, can put another score on the board, and Lincoln might look to their backup quarterback. I'd like to see Drake Davidson play.
Yeah, there you go.
Selfishly. 2 receivers to each side. Ogala drops to throw, a blitz off the edge, steps up, delivers, nice ball, first down. Johnny Johnson with the catch at the 28-yard line. Bulldogs will make substitutions on the defensive side of the football.
And I'd like to see that too. I think we can forgive that selfishness. That'd be pretty cool to see a Spartan out here.
First down, Lincoln wearing the all-white uniforms, navy helmets. Turn and give it off to Kimbo Ferguson. Not much there again. Reed McBroom and John Sheeler. There for the Bulldogs, a gain of 3.
Second down and 7.
A lot of purple here on homecoming Saturday. In the stands, filling up. coats on. Chilly day, overcast.
Another full crowd, though. Hank says the wind's cold a bit, too, and guys are firing off the ball, though, in purple.
2nd down and 7. Ogala from the pocket, standing, got time to throw this time. No one open, so he'll just chuck it to the near sideline, and a quick hit applied by the Bulldogs as Antonio Isaac was decked by J.D. Hurd.
And you know what? I'm almost positive Isaac's heel actually landed on the paint on the out of bounds there, and the play still went, and he got licked for it. I think he would have preferred that they had spotted that out of bounds, as he didn't get any extra yardage by staying in. But another chance for the D lineman to fly off the football. Reeves was coming at Ogala from the backside there, just couldn't catch up. Ogala kind of just instinctively started to move there, knowing that internal clock was ticking.
Lincoln has not been able to get their leading receiver, Blake Tibbs, involved in the offense today. I think he's got 1 catch. 3rd down and 9. Ogala drops it off short, incomplete. Good coverage by Fischel, would not have been a first down anyway. The intended receiver, Johnson.
I think he makes that tackle even if that ball is caught.
So Newell will come on to receive this punt.
4th down and long. Spencer Newell, deep for the Bulldogs.
Trying to think if Lincoln has gotten into Truman territory today. If so, maybe one time they crept across midfield. And an angle punt. Going to end up coming back to Newell. He makes a fair catch at the 34-yard line. Hank, a little cooler than it was a week ago in McKendree.
Yeah, you know, and the wind is steady, fellas, and it's picked up kind of south-southwest, and it's consistent and uncomfortable. And, you know, Lincoln just unable to generate, can't run it, just can't make anything happen. Dog defense has been flying around, done a nice job all day, using some of their depth, rotating a variety of players in there, but just nothing going for Lincoln. And to the Dogs' credit, they've stuffed them, just totally shut them down.
They have, looking for a shutout here on homecoming Saturday. And it's an option play. Barr to the near side, draws the defense and pitches it off to Salima, and he'll work his way up the sideline. It'll be close to first down yardage. Good play design there, well-timed pitch by Barr. And he sets up Salima for success, and he picks up 10 yards and a first down to the 44-yard line.
Great call, Brad. They have not crossed midfield. I was thinking about it early because remember they were close to midfield a couple of times, but then they kind of got the penalty bug. They had the motion penalty. They did not. They got to their own 42 and their 47, but I knew they were right near it, but they never crossed.
Here's a handoff to Salima, and he is wrapped up and slammed down. No gain there.
And you know what? Even though the offense stalled a lot in the first half, let's give them some credit still for moving the football. You don't do something like that if it's not a multifaceted performance, from your punting game to your offense moving the chains a little bit. And first and foremost, your defense has to get stops and produce.
2nd down and 10, Ruffin to the left, twin receiver to the right side. 2 backs in the backfield. Flank Barr. Takes the snap, fakes it. Scrambling to the near side with a fullback as a lead blocker, and a good kickback block by Mitch Nichols. And that sets the edge for Jaden Barr to scramble ahead to the Lincoln 45-yard line and a first down. Design play to get your fullback out in front of the quarterback, and then Mitch Nichols really came back and planted somebody on a peel-back block. That was a pancake from Pancake City. Crowd response saw it right in front of them at midfield on the Bulldog sideline. 1st down and 10, and it was clean. Here is a lead play up the middle with the fullback ahead of Salima, and he dances to the 39-yard line, a pickup of 6, and that will be the last play of the 3rd quarter.
One of the subtle things that's always really important, it seems to me Truman ball carriers are falling forward on about I'm making up a number here, but like 80 to 90% of their carries today. They're oftentimes getting the extra yard and going down with it as opposed to being knocked on their backs because of that good forward momentum as the quarter comes to a close. But those yard and 2 yards are really important when it comes down to short yardage situation.
Truman doubles up its lead in the third quarter, 20-0, heading to the fourth. We're back in 1 minute on KRES Moberly and CentralMoInfo.com, also streaming on the iHeart app. Truman up 20-0. Second down. There's a screen pass to Robbins that'll work for a first down. Bouncing off a couple of tacklers. Around the 35 to the 34-yard line. First down. How do the numbers look?
The numbers are still looking pretty darn phenomenal. Like we said, they haven't crossed midfield. They did get a fifth first down, Lincoln did, but still just 12 rushing yards on the evening, 46 passing. That's 58 total yards.
Bulldogs' last shutout came 2 years ago against Lincoln.
I'm sensing a theme.
Got a chance today, yep, in what could be the final matchup between these two MIAA/GLVC rivals. And there's a nice first down carry. And that was Salima. He's trying for his second straight 100-yard rushing game. He had a $134 last week against McKendree, highlighted by a 66-yard touchdown run, which tied the game early fourth.
And I think I can confidently say that when you said you hope to see Ziegler this week as an opportunity to get some reps, you did not mean an emergency handoff, so maybe he'll get another crack.
Yeah, I would like to see him get some reps. So maybe the Bulldogs can punch it in here and get him in the lineup. Here's a carry by Satula, and he picks up a couple. 13:39 to play in the fourth quarter. Bulldogs will be in Bolivar next Saturday to take on SBU. Team that has undergone a lot of personnel transformation. Their electric quarterback, TJ Edwards, not with the program this season, graduated some other standout talent, and they've taken a bit of a step back. But tough place to play. Bulldogs going on the road next week before we come back home to host Quincy. Third down and 3. Here's a fake by Barr, pulls it away. First down yardage across the 20, down to the 18-yard line, scrambling to the right with blockers. And Lincoln having a hard time figuring out if Jaden Barr's got the football or not.
We've got a penalty on the play, though.
Yep. Missouri S&T beat William Jewell today 59-21. So the Miners respond after losing a heartbreaker to Indianapolis last week. S&T 2-1 in the conference, 5-2 overall. Jewell drops to 1-3 in the conference, 1-5 overall. Indianapolis will be at Quincy at 5 o'clock today. McKendree at SBU is the other game in the conference.
Personal foul on Truman, by the way. I think if I heard him correctly, I think he said unsportsmanlike.
All right, so back to Bulldogs, 15 yards to the 34-yard line. Two backs in the backfield. Barr will hand it off this time. Satula hops over a would-be tackler to the 29-yard line. Pickup of 5.
Number 2 on the stop. A gain of 5 yards.
That sounded good there. The Truman fans want a touchdown, Brad. I don't blame them.
Bulldogs lopsided advantage, 360 to 58 total yardage through 3 quarters of play. Here's a handoff, and it's going to be a first down.
Number 94.
Or is it? Nope. Knee is down at the 25-yard line, so it's going to be 4th down. And the way the Bulldogs are running the football, they will likely go for it.
3rd down and 1.
It is 3rd down, correction.
Possession entering this drive was 27-17.
Here's a handoff, covering up that football. Satula as he breaks through the line to the 20, down to the 18-yard line.
And this drive has felt long, and so we have another post play now. He's just kind of hyped up maybe, or upset about something. Nothing to be hyped about.
Tried to been ripping that ball away. Lincoln's gone to trying to strip the football. They haven't had any luck getting away yet.
That is a Bulldog first down.
11:24 and counting. The Bulldogs trying to help out this crowd that may be chilled by the brisk wind by milking clock, running the football. Up 20-0. Single receiver to the right. First down, Truman. Fake it to Salima. Drop it off on a screen to Morris. Makes a move at his son and gets it up the right sideline, but there's a flag behind the play. So this may be coming back. And here comes the call. It is holding, so this is coming back. I had a friend of yours, Hank Jansen, who heard your story about Ray Armstead and the 10-speed bike, and he heard the version of the story that you were on a tricycle, he said.
Well, actually, that's about my speed now, a few years later. But now my Schwinn 10-speed was good. Ray all he wanted.
Our chauffeur to Big Rapids, Michigan, was the one who relayed that story.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't surprise me.
No, I knew that wouldn't surprise you. First down and 15. A bit more than that. First down and 17. Here is the handoff to Salima. Cuts it up to the 23-yard line.
Salima with the carry for the Bulldogs. Kamani Nelson, number 1.
Bulldogs going for 4 in a row, of course. They finished last season with 4 victories in a row.
And 3-0 in the conference it would be as well. Cooper and I had a phenomenal conversation at the half about this. Just, you think about last year, Brad, coming off the conference title, and you start this season 0-3 after last year's struggles post-conference title. Everything feels so different now.
Nichols to the left, Ruffin to the right. Handed up, no, pulling it away is Barr. Scrambling as if to throw it. Now he tucks it and is gobbled up.
And just building on that point, Brad, again, last year you have some struggles post-conference title. You end of the year, though, with some momentum. But to start off 0-3 this year and a lot of struggles on the offensive side of the football at the time almost kind of elevates the panic meter in a weird way. Everybody wants to see offense in this era, and you're losing games, this and that. But anyway, now you roll into it with just so much great feeling, all the success in the kick return game, the running game. You're looking at a 3-0 conference start.
Third down and 14. Football at the 22-yard line of Lincoln. 9:18 to play in the fourth. Bulldogs up 20. Faking it. Barr rolling with the fullback. Looking downfield. Draws a defender so he can drop it off to the fullback, and he's bounced out of bounds. at the 19-yard line. We're going to get another field goal attempt for Scheiderer.
And while we're talking big picture, and I really don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I always think it's an important point to emphasize because we've seen enough football to know this. You've heard me make this point in mobile league games before, too. Sometimes it's great and well and good to be winning games on the ground, but at a certain point you do always need that vertical threat, and that's the one thing that can still improve.
This will be a 36-yard field goal attempt for Scheiderer from the right hash mark. Plenty of distance. It hit the upright and no good.
And in closing on that point, I would say this. It's nice to be winning games while he still has to work on that. I think that's just the nature of it. Every offense, every defense, even in wins, is going to get back in the film room and see opportunities for growth. I would point to that play in the first half where I thought Barr had Nichols on a post route for a possible touchdown as an opportunity where there's room for growth.
Well, Scheiderer has gone 2 for 4 today in the field goal department. And the Bulldogs' lead is still 20. If you think back to the 3 losses, they don't look too bad when you look at the records of the opponent. Morningside, not a surprise, undefeated, 6-0 NAIA Power. Saginaw Valley, 5-1, just lost their first game last week to Ashland, 21-17, so nearly 6-0. And of course the Bulldogs had a great chance to win that game, lost it with 15 seconds to go. The other team that the Bulldogs lost to, Michigan Tech, 2-4, picked up its second win of the season last week. Timeout on the field. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. This is Bulldog football. Completion, big rush by A.J. DeVecchi on Ogala, forcing the incompletion. Ogala coming into this game, 966 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks, 56% completion percentage, but no luck today throwing the football. Second down and 10. Ogala will set up the draw play, hands it off to Ferguson, breaks a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and is able to get a first down to the 32-yard line. So a good design draw play. Frees up a Lincoln running back. And apparently a flag on the play now, too.
You don't say this too often when a team has 58 yards of total offense, but I do genuinely believe there is work to build on here for Lincoln. I think they've had a lot of positives tonight, or this afternoon I should say, just in the defensive side of things, and I think they've really held their own, and in a lot of regards this game has probably been more competitive than we maybe expected. So I'd say they've had some good work done on the practice field in the preseason, and that their program is headed in the right direction in what will be the final conference matchup between these two teams.
Second down and 7 from the 23.
Had Ogala had a man on the screen there. Instead, he just lobs it right into the middle of the defense. He's lucky that wasn't a pick six.
I was looking at some of the defensive numbers last time
Someone less than 100 yards.
The last time that somebody failed to rush for 100 yards, not too long ago, Valparaiso game, they only had 88 yards rushing. Last time an opponent failed to pass for 100 yards goes back to 2013. William Jewell had 64 yards October 12th of 2013, so nearly exactly 5 years ago. Here's a deep ball, far sideline. It's caught, and that's going to be a big pass play, and into the end zone, Blake Tibbs. 50-50 ball won it. Defender fell down. Tibbs into the end zone, 77 yards. But is there a flag down? There is, so wave it off. This one's coming back. I think Woods was over there on coverage, wasn't it?
It was.
And he kind of fell down going for the football. Tibbs maintained his balance. Oh, wait,
it's roughing the passer. It's on Truman.
It is not on Lincoln. It is roughing the passer.
Wow, this game looks a lot different. We're almost, this game's been at such a standstill that it feels like it's been dominated, and now it's about to be it is a two-possession game.
Couple of missed field goals, couple other missed opportunities to pad the lead, and then you get one big play, and it's about to become 20-7 if the extra point goes through. So Blake Tibbs with a 77-yard touchdown catch from Henry Ogala. That is his first touchdown reception of the season, returning all-conference receiver, and
they're going for two.
They're going to go for two.
That doesn't really accomplish you that much.
That doesn't add up at all. Here is Ogala. They're going to have a throwback play, and I guess if you have a play like this, but it's dropped. They had the Bulldogs totally off guard on the throwback pass to Elex Harris, a backup running back, but they couldn't make connections, and it's 20-6. I don't understand the math there.
Now 2 touchdowns only ties it instead of gives you a 1-point lead.
That's the point. I mean, if you're 20-7, 2 touchdowns, 2 extra points, you win the football.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
That being said, they also should have caught that and scored. But even then, that doesn't get you anywhere. It's still a 2-possession game. Why would you waste that play? That makes no sense to me.
No, and again, if you get the 8, you still have to score a touchdown and a touchdown. You don't make it to where it's a touchdown field goal, so that's a wrong decision.
As far as that actual play goes, now that we have a chance to analyze it, because we at first thought maybe the penalty was on Lincoln, but either way, you mentioned Woods had fallen, as he did, but I'm going to give Ogala credit for that throw. Tibbs had to stop for a moment at the top of his route, but I thought that was a pretty well-spun football, and I don't think that was fluky by any means. As dead as the offense has been, Truman got beat there. And now that penalty, because it's a roughing the passer, gets put into effect on the kickoff, and because of that, I don't know that Woods is going to get his chance. Now, if I'm Lincoln, you have to onside kick it here. I've talked to you about this so many times, Brad. In this spot, you're down 2 touchdowns. Your offense has done nothing outside of a big play. You would be foolish not to kick this onside. Absolutely foolish.
Truman is ready for it as they've got everybody up. Malik Robbins is the only returner back. And for a second straight play, a head-scratching decision by Lincoln as it goes out of bounds. They shouldn't have gone for 2 when they did, and they should have kicked an onside kick, and they didn't. And that's 2 poor decisions.
That last one is just. I'm going to be careful here, but that last one makes just negative amounts of sense.
The last 2
you have to,
make no sense.
You're starting 15 yards up from where you would otherwise be, and you kicked it out of the end zone. I don't get that. I don't.
Good for the Bulldogs. First down at the 25. Handed off to Salima, and he'll get to the 28-yard line. Gain of 3. Clock starts up. 7:46 to play, fourth quarter. Bulldogs up 20-6. Lincoln in all-time GLVC games since they came in the scheduling alliance in 2014, just 2 total wins in conference play, 2-32, and they are going to go back into that MIAA. So they're going to have to ratchet up their football program even higher. Here is Barr. Nice cut back to open space, 35. Needs a block, and he's tackled.
That was one of the better open field tackles I think I've ever seen.
Otherwise, Jaden Barr was about to blast off.
And the reason I say that, and that may have been a little bit of hyperbole, but the point I'm trying to make was that he was engaged with the blocker as Barr was almost side by side with him. He got off his block and made the tackle in a tenth of a second. It was remarkable. So big credit to Gross there on the edge.
Siobhan Gross made the play. He's had a nice ball game. Ellis to the right, Ruffin to the left. Inverted bone. Clock down to 6:30 here in the fourth quarter. Bulldogs up 14. Here's a handoff straight up the gut. And Satula to near midfield picks up a quick 7 yards.
And by the way, barring another defensive breakdown, that's more or less, that honestly might more or less almost do it there at this point. And that's why I'm thinking about maybe doing an onside kick even if I'm kicking from my 35. Lincoln had a chance to do it from the 50. So again, I don't want to overblow that point by any means, but that was just a really head-scratching decision would be the nicest way to put it in that regard. But like I said, I still think this Lincoln team's made a lot of strides is the disappointing element of seeing that.
Second down and 3. And Satula. Again, Lincoln's trying to rip the football out more than even tackling. Satula picks up 3 and a first down to Lincoln territory, the 48-yard line.
And that should about surely be it with Lincoln having just 2 timeouts. Just keep the ball on the ground here, get out of here with a victory.
That one pass play by Lincoln was more than they've had total offense the rest of the game.
Yeah.
77 yards. Bulldogs stay in the inverted bone, 48-yard line of Lincoln. And it is Ziegler in, by the way, at quarterback. Hands it off to Satula. No gain, in fact, a loss of a yard. So Dan Ziegler's checked back in. He had one snap earlier because Barr's helmet came off. Ziegler comes in. He was a 2-year starter at Rochester. He was an all-stater, passed for 6,500 yards and threw 75 touchdowns in his high school career and a part of the quarterback, the 2014 state championship game. Since 2009, the Rochester program has won 7 of 8 state titles. Here's a handoff. Sweeping is Salima, and then on the cutback is able to ride the rail right up to the 42-yard line, picks up 6.
He's throwing here on 3rd and medium, right? I'm just kidding. I think they'll probably ride this one out. But in all seriousness, against most opponents, Brad, you would not see him in this spot. This is still a 2-possession game. But that being said, the reason they're comfortable is because Lincoln does not pose enough of a threat 73-yard touchdown plays aside to Truman defensively. That's why they feel comfortable where the game is timeout-wise, where the clock is, where the score is. I like the move to get him a couple of snaps here, just get him some live fire.
3rd down and 4 from the Lincoln 42, and Ziegler will keep it and tries to shoot up the middle. Is stopped at the 41-yard line. Timeout Lincoln with 3:35 to play. Bulldogs up 20-6. Rochester, we talked about 7 of 8 state titles. Since 2009, the record coming into this season, 113 wins and 10 losses.
That's impressive. Those are some Wisconsin Whitewater numbers or whatever.
And Lamar still got a better record since that time. Lamar just amazing, the longest winning streak in the nation for high school football. Number 1 team in Class 2 Missouri.
Brad, you know what a point we haven't made yet this year, and this is a good thing that we haven't made this point yet? Truman's remarkably healthy right now. Remarkably healthy.
Where's the wood?
Yeah, now
find the wood.
Yeah, but no, but this is about to be 4-3. That's 7 games. That's a big. I don't think you could. Most teams would be jealous to be at this point. Like phenomenal, like a totally clean slate of health.
Had a couple early. Taylor Manus, the defensive backfield, and then Weiss on the kick coverage unit went out. Kind of took some out of the depth in the secondary, and they were both good special teams players. Here is Roller with the punt. And he does what he does best, and that is pin the opponent deep.
And again, that's going to be impossible to avoid that. Something like that. It's just that it's the game of football. You're averaging a third of an injury a game to a couple special teamers. I'll take that every year.
I asked Nesbitt, first thing I ask him when I talk to him each week, what we had on the injuries. He said,
same starters, we're good.
Doing good.
We get Reed McBroom a couple of reps, but other than that, we're good.
10th time this season, Roller has pinned the opponent inside the 20. This time even much better than that, all the way back to the 2-yard line. 20-6 Bulldogs, but still some work to do to close this one out. Maybe the defense can score on homecoming Saturday, huh?
Get everybody in the party. No defensive scores yet this year, right? We've got a couple special teams.
Had the one first game with Siegel on the pick 6.
That's right.
Didn't have any other offensive.
That was
touchdown.
The only scoring that day. That's right. Yeah, that feels like a long time ago. That was a whole other season ago, just as far as the level of play that we've seen from the Dogs.
And Brock Roller quietly has been outstanding for Truman when you talk about field position. I mean, right here, Lincoln's taking timeouts. They're wanting to get the football back, but then you get pinned at your 2, and you're just almost conceding, well, that did it. They run a running play, and they've taken a lot of time to get this next snap off. So credit to Brock Roller. Nicely done again. Now they're going to go home run ball again. Look out. Tibbs has got it. Again, working that far boundary. Makes the catch over J.D. Hurd at the 48-yard line. 2 plays providing most of the production today for the Blue Tigers.
And again, that's another well-thrown football. I give the kid credit, hanging in there. It hasn't been anybody's day on that side of the field, and standing in there making plays.
2:20 left. If Lincoln can somehow get a quick score on the board, it's still a game. And down goes the quarterback, and that'll be the first career sack for Robert Greco, freshman out of Florissant, Missouri, for a 2-yard loss.
He did a good job there pursuing the play. That wasn't a freebie. He had to move and continue to pursue as Lincoln calls a timeout. That was a good job of coming at Ogalla from behind as Ogalla stepped up.
Timeout on the field. This is the last Blue Tiger timeout. We'll take a 30-second break. We're back right after this. This one, Bulldogs trying to finish off a homecoming win, their 4th straight win of the season. 20-6. Bulldogs, second down and 12. You better find where Blake Tibbs is and mark him. Ogalla looking that way. Again, Tibbs going deep, but this time the Bulldog rush takes Ogalla out of bounds.
Got to get rid of that football.
Oh, it's going to be a late flag.
Ooh, they were engaged.
Late tackle on Jake Hayes, and they flagged it.
They were engaged, and he's got to get rid of that football to avoid that hit to begin with, but they were engaged. I do not think that was a penalty.
So Lincoln going to keep those hopes alive with 1:53 left, down 14.
S&T just capped off a 59-21 victory against Jewel. You see how the Bulldog faithful felt about that call.
Yeah, not happy.
No, but I really don't think that was either. Again, I was surprised by the ground. I'm sure it's been a good day. There's been no issues, but
certainly wasn't a violent hit in any way. It was a wrap-up and going out of bounds.
And you're not expected to just assume the opposition goes out of bounds. That's the thing. I thought they were already engaged, and I know he's the quarterback, but if you're wrapped up, they let you finish the play usually.
Drake Rucker's been there the entire game at left tackle from Moberly High School, true freshman. He's getting ready to pass block on first down. Nope, it's going to be an option play. And the pitch, good one-on-one tackle by Fischel on Kimbo Ferguson. Limits the gain to 2, and the clock will run. Speaking of Illinois State Championship teams, he was on one in Arcola, Illinois. And now we got a flag that'll kill the play before it continues. Hank Jansen down on the sideline with Eric Holm, former Truman coach and receiver, who had a Truman record 4 touchdown receptions against Lincoln.
Wow. I was going to ask Hank if he's got any.
I think it was 1980 was the year, 4 touchdown receptions.
Amid this 4-game winning streak, I was going to ask Hank if he's got any areas he'd like to see for improvement, but I think we've lost him as he's getting his workout in for his 50-meter race.
He's preparing for the 50 meters.
By God, I could go 50 meters.
In your golf cart?
No, I'd go a long way to go.
Absolutely. He's surgically repaired and ready to go.
But Hank, you got to have something to nitpick here. Hank, what do you want to see on the improvement end of things? Like I said, I've been hitting on the vertical passing game a bit. Still want to see that develop. But otherwise, a lot of the other areas of football have improved since week 1 for the offense.
Well, certainly since week 1, it's kind of been a progression, a good quarter here and a good quarter there and a good third quarter at Saginaw, and I don't know if they've really put a full game together. Lots of room for improvement offensively. You got to be able to throw it. You got to be able to throw it downfield clearly or just throw it just out of sync. They've certainly run the ball better in the last few weeks, but all kinds of room for improvement heading down the stretch.
2nd down and 18. Here's a pass down the sideline for Tibbs, and this is going to be flagged as DeAnthony Knight was playing catch-up right in front of Hank. And obvious foul. Once again, Lincoln has life.
And to Hank's point, this hasn't really been a gauntlet of a schedule just yet either in the GLVC for Truman. And I don't say that to discount these wins. Rather, I say that as a positive in that you've been able to win while finding room for improvement. I think that's any football team's dream on the schedule. You get wins while learning what you need to do to get better to win the tougher ones down the stretch. And maybe that gets going next week on the road.
All right, so the mark-off will take the football to the 36-yard line. It'll be a first down. Pass interference, 1:01 left. Blue Tigers without a timeout. Truman was up 20-0 cruising. Here's an option. Pitch off to Ferguson. Bulldogs string him out. Did he get out of bounds? He did not. Clock will continue to run.
I think that pitch was on the back shoulder. He never really got going. In fact, he actually had to stop, Ferguson did, before rolling. Now we're already at 45 seconds and it's 2nd and 11 at the 36.
And those big linemen, boy, they got to move around. 300 plus for 4 of those linemen. Got to hustle to the line of scrimmage. Here comes a deep ball looking for Tibbs. He's got a step. Makes the catch. Between 2 Bulldogs down to the 2-yard line.
What is going on? Sleeping over the top down the stretch here.
Lincoln will hustle to the football. This clock will start once the ball's spotted. 28, 27, snap it back, hand it off. The running back is stuffed. And without a timeout, that was kind of a gutsy call. 18, 17, clock's running. And Ogala gets under center and clocks the football. 9 seconds left. I don't see any way that you have to run the football. You have to score if you do.
I think it's really obvious this Lincoln team's gotten a lot better, and I don't by any means mean this as criticism, but this goes to show you why you had to do that onside kick earlier. You can't be throwing in the towel in football games when it's a 2-score game. And meanwhile, Truman's going to be upset with itself for letting Lincoln do this late. This will give a good opportunity to get Harsha on the film room after a victory.
All right, 3rd down and goal from the 2-yard line. Ogala will throw a fade route, and it is caught over the top. Hurd had coverage, but the catch made by Ezekiel Lang, 6'3", far side of the end zone with 5 seconds left to make it 20-12, and the Blue Tigers will go for 2. No, they're not. They're going to run their kicker out there. Again, the curious decision to go for 2 on their first score made no sense.
Onside kick, Hail Mary, by the way, is the only way this can work. You have to get the onside kick, and you have one play. That's all there's going to be.
They're late getting the kicker out there. It is Fernando Ramirez, a freshman, and we've got a flag. It's going to be delay of game as Lincoln was late. I think they initially thought about 2, which again would be even a worse decision than the going for 2 the first time, because you got a chance to make it a 7-point game with an extra point here. The decision to go for 2 on their first score was terrible, and that's not being kind. I mean, it gains you nothing. Here is the extra point kick that is good. So it's a 7-point game. If you kick it previously, you got a 6-point game, and then if somehow you score a touchdown, you can win on an extra point.
I mean, no, we've been as fair and real as it can be. This is still Division II football. We're complimenting them. They've clearly made strides, but that's it. If you coach in Division II, you're going to be in the spotlight a bit more. And I came out and said, a quarter and a half ago that this team is miles ahead of where it's been in the past. You got to start somewhere, and they've made strides, but to go for 2 and to not kick onside from the 50 down two scores, 7.5 minutes left, that made no sense. But either way, I'll tell you right now, there's no question it'll be an onside into a Hail Mary if they were to recover it. Should have been a while ago, though.
All right, so the Bulldogs are 1 recovery away from finishing off this win. Bulldogs had it comfortable, but kind of fell asleep a little bit, and that'll happen. Lincoln with 2 big pass plays right back in it. This one they've go 10 yards. Bulldogs don't even have to touch it.
Never gave him a chance.
And that's a smart move, Eric. How many times do we see the onside kick come up short and one of the
kicks it and then they touch it and the other
runs up when you don't even have to touch it? And so the Bulldogs have won this football game as the onside kick did not go 10 yards. Final score 20-13.
The clock actually ticked off too because it was just sitting there.
20-13. Well, yeah, once it was kicked off. Yeah. Well, now I'm not sure about this.
I was going to say I don't think that's right. I thought there'd be, because it doesn't start until it gets touched.
Bulldogs have to have one more snap.
I was going to say you got to have a snap. I'm curious to hear Coach Nesbitt's post game. This game was not as close as the score. The rest of the GLVC will get a little excited. Truman only beat Lincoln 20-13. Blah 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 blah. But I don't know. It was a weird end of the game. And no, I'm making clear, Brad. It was much more impressive than that. It was not a 20-13 game. I'm just telling you what the reaction around the conference is going to be.
All right, victory formation for the Bulldogs, and the snap taken. The kneel down by Jaden Barr. And the Bulldogs will watch the final seconds tick off. 20-13 final score. That's 4 wins in a row for the Bulldogs as we get set for a road trip to Southwest Baptist. It is time for the Colton Steakhouse and Grill postgame show. Before or after the game, stop by Colton Steakhouse and Grill, located on the Baltimore Strip at the south end of Kirksville, and enjoy the most tender and juiciest steak west of the Mississippi, or call ahead to have your order ready. We'll be back with post-game coverage in 90 seconds. You're listening to Truman Football. Greg Nesbitt after finishing off fourth straight win, 20-13. 10-0 at halftime, then 10 points in the third quarter, and it was in cruise control, maybe a little close for comfort at the end. Couple of big pass plays from Ogalla to Tibbs. Got Lincoln to within one score, but they ran out of time. And on the Colton Steakhouse and Grill postgame show, let's go down to the field. Hank has the head coach.
Well, Coach, kind of a strange game. Dominated a lot of it, left some points out there on the field, and a couple of big plays from Lincoln kind of got him back in it. Excellent defensive effort. I don't know.
No, I think, we squandered, I don't have the stats like you guys, but it seems like at least 3, maybe 4 red zone opportunities. Some of them came away empty. With nothing, in addition to obviously not getting touchdowns. Defense will play awful well all day. Corner position, Henry, I don't know what to tell you.